Well, welcome out to the middle. We are here for the toss and we are joined by our two umpires for this afternoon's game, as well as our mascots and, of course, the two captains for Somerset, Lewis Gregory, and, of course, Essex, Simon Harmer. Yeah, we're ready and waiting. If we've got the coin, Simon has it. Up it goes. Tails is called by Lewis. Essex have won the toss. Simon, I'll borrow you for a second. Good to see you. You've won the toss, Simon. What are you going to do and why?
We're going to have a bat first. We just think day games at Chelmsford, if anything, it might get a bit slower. So hopefully we can make the most of it with the bat, put things right that we didn't do right on Friday night. We were behind the 8 ball from the word go. So hopefully we can throw the first punch tonight and play on the front foot.
You touched upon Friday being a slightly slow start. Confidence and energy in the group, I'm sure, to get out here this afternoon.
Absolutely. We're better to do it than at Chelmsford in a home game. The boys love playing here. It's a high-scoring ground, so hopefully we can put a show on for the crowd and get the win under our belt.
And team news for Essex this afternoon, sorry?
Same team for us.
Best of luck, Carmi. Lewis has gone. That is the toss. So the outcome is Essex have won the toss and will bat first.
Raise the game.
Play your part.
Call it out. To report any form of discrimination, text respect and your block number and message to 60066.
Well, with just over 15 minutes until the start of play, let's take a look at the teams, starting with our visitors, Somerset. Number 15, Tom Lammonby. Number 23, Will Smead. Number 32, Tom Kohler-Cadmore. Number 28, Tom Abel. Number 45, Thomas Rue. Number 24 and captain, Lewis Gregory. Number 54, Ben Green. Number 7, Craig Overton. Number 21, Matt Henry. Number 44, Lewis Goldsworthy. Number 12, Riley Meredith. And now for your Essex lineup. Adam Rossington, Dean Elgar, Michael Pepper, Paul Walter, Matt Critchley, Charlie Allison, Luke Benkenstein, Simon Harmer, Shane Snater, Sam Cook, and Mohammed Amir. Now, if you keep your eyes on the big screen, we caught up a little bit earlier with none other than Peter Siddle.
Chasing that massive score of 231, and which Essex in the end, of course, didn't get anywhere too close to. So
Tom Kohler-Cadmore celebrating by practicing his golf swing.
So just to clarify in that fielding, because having been done by the umpire's kit, slip 3 on either side, saving 1, and then we've got 2 in the deep. So here is Overton, bright sunshine here at Chelmsford. He's up to the wicket, he bowls, and that's driven away nicely by Pepper between cover and mid-off for 2, being chased back towards the extra cover boundary. It'll be picked up 10 yards short. They're going to go for the third on the throw, and we'll see more threes in this match than the previous one. That was quite a long chase back to the boundary there, but in the end couldn't prevent the third run because it's a big boundary on this pavilion side of the ground, and there will be threes, and that's the first time we've seen it. Not a couple, I think, in the women's match, but there's one. 7 for 1.
That was Thomas Rue, not Tom Rue, Thomas Rue.
Remember to call him that, yeah.
Who has become the youngest player to play T20 cricket for Somerset.
So here is Elgar on strike to Overton, who goes around the wicket, and Elgar plays up towards cover and doesn't go for a run after what happened on Friday night, but there was no chance of a run there on that occasion. So, well, it's a good start for Somerset to get rid of Adam Rossington, who he didn't get in this evening. But Elgar and Pepper having a chat, but Somerset will be delighted to strike in the opening over. 7 for 1, Pepper 3, and Elgar no score. Rossington got that 1 boundary before he was out.
Yeah, and slightly surprised that Matt Henry is going to bowl from this Alistair Cook end into the wind. Breeze isn't quite as strong as it was earlier on today, but Craig Overton has got the benefit of bowling with the wind at his back. But Matt Henry has a terrific record in T20 cricket. He's going to be bowling from the Alistair Cook end. He's got his skipper at slip. He's bowling to Pepper, who's on 3. He's in and bowls, and Pepper just plays a good length ball. Good hard length from Matt Henry. We saw in the women's game that there's no future in bowling short on this pitch. I guess if you're bowling at the pace of Riley Meredith, it might be a different proposition. Pepper,
strike rate of 150 and 2 centuries last year, high score of 120 over 2,000 runs in T20 cricket.
There's Matt Henry in bowls, and again forcing Pepper, who was looking to advance on him, but forcing him back on his stumps as he played a defensive shot to another good length quick delivery from Matt Henry. Again, these 2 Somerset opening bowlers bowling much as they would at the start of an innings in 4-day cricket, bowling that top of the off stump ball. Henry in bowls again, and same result. Defensive shot from Michael Pepper, who's looking to attack, but has not been given any width so far by Matt Henry.
When we last met, Anthony, the signing of Henry had just been confirmed, hadn't it, on the second day?
It had.
And he's made a tremendous impression, as expected.
He's made a huge difference to Somerset. He's I mean, not just on the field but off the field as well. He's a tremendously good influence in the dressing room. He's the sort of cricketer that inspires other cricketers. Here he comes again to Pepper in bowls, and Pepper hits this hard away through the offside for 4 runs. Nothing that Thomas Rue could do about that. That was fairly laced through the covers by Michael Pepper. He moves on to 7, 11 for 1 in the second over.
And in between last year's T20 and this year's, he's also become established in red ball, Michael Pepper, so maybe that's just increased his confidence, but he's going to be a key player today.
Yeah, dangerous customer. Henry in bowls to him. He goes for the scoop and misses it, and it's not given as a wide because he moved across his crease, and I think it is it Ben Debenham or Nigel Long at this end? I fancy it.
I think Nigel Long's at square, isn't he?
I think it's Ben Debenham who's the umpire. So no wide.
No, I've worked out we're not playing for Somerset. It's just that slight difference in colour.
Yes,
not
Somerset
much.
in their fielding shirts, which are a delicate shade of fuchsia. Henry in and bowls to Pepper short. That's up in the air. Could be a catch. Should be a catch. It's taken as a catch. And Michael Pepper has gone. That's a very good catch. I think it's Riley Meredith down there at long leg. A top-edged hook shot from Michael Pepper. And it was held up by the wind, and in the end Riley Meredith had to dive forward to take the catch and held it really well. But that's a tremendous start for Somerset. Essex 11 for 2, and Pepper gone, caught Meredith, bowled Henry for 7.
Yeah, it's almost as the ball hurried him in the end when he was playing the shot and wasn't in control of it. And a good catch as well, as we were saying, because it wasn't straightforward. That had to get into position and took it very well. But yeah, the quality of Matt Henry already shining through, and Meredith confirmed as the catcher. So that's given Essex a problem. Now Paul Walter, who looked good while he was at the crease on Friday night, has got a bit of a role to play here, because you look at the Essex side and you think, well, Paul Walter has been in such good all-round form this season that a contribution here is going to be absolutely essential, because these 2 early wickets have really unsettled Essex. 11 for 2 is the score. This is just played by Elgar. First ball of the new Overton over into the offside, and there's no run. But that's just a dream start for Somerset. A wicket in each of the 2 opening overs. And Elgar, how does he play this now? He's got to make sure, of course, that there's no further early loss of wickets, but they want to take advantage of the power play. A slip, not surprisingly, and 6 saving 1. Overton goes round the wicket, and Elgar isn't quite sure where that's gone. In the end, it's gone out towards mid-on. Originally, I think he was trying to play that just onto the offside. Maybe a touch of movement there for Craig Overton. And, well, let's be quite blunt. Any critics he had at the start of the season, which was misguided anyway, he's very firmly answered. Not least, of course, in that tremendous innings he played batting for Somerset against Essex in the Championship. Overton comes in again, bowls as a flashing attempt at a drive from Elgar, but it's a bit head in the air, and he plays and misses, and it goes through the Kohler cap moor at the moment. Somerset looking very dominant, looking like a side in great form. All round, of course, 3 championship wins, 1 in the Blast, looking like a side bringing with confidence and a set game plan.
It's quite high risk, this approach in the early overs, in the power play overs, bowling this test match length.
Overton bowls, and that's clipped away nicely for runs, probably 4. It's well timed by Elgar. That was a good shot. Just leaning into it, turning it into a half volley and playing it away, threading it through the onside infield and away up to the executive boxes for a much needed boundary for Essex. They've been able to get a few scoring shots, but a wicket has fallen each of the first 2 overs. They don't want another one. 4 to Elgar, and no score to Walter. 15 for 2.
Yeah, no question of pace off there from Overton. He's bowling just about flat out.
In he comes again, going round the wicket. Bowls to a left-handed Elgar, who steers that down into the offside, rolls out towards backward point. There is Ben Green, who's been with Leicestershire, of course, in the Championship.
He has, doing tremendously well. He's been a really important cog in the Leicestershire machine,
and he's rejoining the machine, I understand, after this.
Yep.
Could he win 2 different championships for 2 different sides in the same season?
Possible.
Not impossible. 15 for 2. There's Overton bowls. It's Elgar looking to just play that back down the pitch. He came off the thickish outside half of his bat out to Green. No run. 15 for 2. I was hearing that one of the podcasts during the week saying that Leicestershire virtually can just draw their remaining championship games on their flat pitches at Grace Road, and that'll be enough. They've done so wonderfully well. 15 for 2. Walter no score. Elgar 4. We've had 3 overs, and Somerset very much on top.
And Dean Elgar, well known in Somerset, has had 2 spells with them back in 2013 and again in 2017. And I know Somerset were in the running to sign him at the start of last season. And there was a rumour at one stage that he had signed for Somerset, but Essex were always the favourites. And Essex it was that he decided in the end to join. So it's Tall Paul on strike to Matt Henry. Still with the slip in bowls, and Walter Plays a defensive shot up to Craig Overton at mid-off. It's not a full house here at the county ground. Quite a few empty seats, but still a good crowd and a lovely afternoon. Sunshine and white fluffy clouds looking across to the apartments on the far side and then the trees beyond them. As Henry is into Walter, who again plays that defensively, up to Craig Overton. Matt Henry looking to cramp the batsman for room, not giving him the space to free those long arms. He's a tremendously powerful striker of a cricket ball, is Paul Walter. Been playing out in the Big Bash during the winter with considerable success. And he's taken to opening the batting for Essex in the County Championship. As Henry is in and bowls, and this one is half stopped by Matt Henry in his follow-through, and he hasn't damaged his hand, mercifully.
I can't remember which championship match he got injured in, but I tell you what, Essex missed him while he was away, and he came back and made a superb 100 against Surrey, part of a big opening partnership. Actually, of course, between these two, they could do another big stand now.
Yeah, 15 for 2. We're in the third over. Rossington and Pepper back in the pavilion. As Henry is into Walter, who goes for a big swing. It's going to be cut off in the deep by Tom Lammonby. First time Tom Lammonby's been in the action. He's back into the side in place of Tom Banton, who's with England. 16 for 2.
At Cardiff, West Indies 308, and they had a bit of a clatter of wickets but got past 300. Carty made 103, 4 wickets for Adil Rashid. England were 2 for 2 but are now 87 for 2, courtesy of Brooke and Root, and that's after 11 overs. So they'll probably win that relatively comfortably.
Going well, aren't they? Here we got Matt Henry bowling to Dean Elgar. He's in bowls and beats Elgar, groping for that outside the off stump, goes through low to Tom Kohler-Cadmore, who is not wearing his vari-coloured cricket boots. Both of these are orange.
Oh, right.
For the last couple of seasons, he's been wearing one orange boot and one blue boot. I think he got them from the Rajasthan Royals when he was playing in the IPL 2 or 3 years ago. Didn't actually play very often for Rajasthan Royals, but he came back with the footwear. Henry in and bowls, and again cramps Elgar for room. Terrific over from Matt Henry, just the 1 run from it. So 4 overs rather have gone. 16 for 2 is the Essex score, and they haven't so far got off to a fast start.
Well, I know you had a word with the Somerset camp between the games, Anthony, and the word was that they thought this is a pretty good wicket, having seen the women's game.
Good pitch, pitch, fast outfield.
So they're thinking perhaps that they expect to be chasing 180 plus, but Essex will do well to get that.
180 plus, I think, would be a par score.
So it is going to be Overton continuing. He's in the 5th over. This is played with one hand off the bat by Walter up to cover. Interesting, because we saw Mohammed Amir bowl 3 overs on the spin for Essex the other night, but different situation was that the ball was being carted to all parts, including off Amir himself. But is this sort of par for the course, Overton bowling 3 overs up front and 1 later?
Absolutely, yeah. He might even bowl all 4 up front.
But I tell you what, they've absolutely got this on a string at the moment, as Walter tries to change that and has success. He hits it over mid-wicket, doesn't time it perfectly, but it's good enough to go away for 4. Got enough bat on that, and he's going to have quite an important role here, you feel, because someone's got to deliver in this Essex top order. He goes from 1 to 5, it's 20 for 2, and we're in the 5th.
Yep, just playing the pickup shot to another good length ball from Overton. Matt perhaps just a fraction short, just allowing the batsman to get underneath it and lever it over straight mid-wicket. 2
fielders swap places, so we have a mid-on and a short fine leg saving 1 on the leg side, and we have then the 5 in the ring on the offside from short third round to mid-off. Here's Overton bowling to Walter. Walter hits it uppishly, but safe, and it goes away for deep mid-wicket in front of the pavilion for a single. He rolls along with that to 6. Elgar has 4 from 9, 21 for 2 in the 5th. Essex winning the toss and choosing to bat here at Chelmsford.
I was just going to say both of the outfielders, the two allowed outside the circle on the leg side boundary, but in fact we've now, are they still on? No, we've got one gone back on the offside, I think.
Overton bowls again. Elgar comes down the pitch and plays a good shot through the covers for 4, using his feet, almost sort of turning it into a half volley by getting to the pitch of it and crashing it away. That will give him some confidence. That was a very good, typical Elgar shot, and very, very well played indeed. The nearest fielder was Lewis Goldsworthy, but it was so well timed he couldn't get across to his right to stop that. And the score goes to 25 for 2. Much needed boundaries here for Essex in this over to get some momentum. 5th over, Overton running towards us. Bowls, and Elgar will get a wide outside the leg stump, which he sort of swishes the bat out, but he would have known all along that was going to be called a wide. Belatedly, this is a better over for Essex and much needed.
It was a slower ball from Overton and just disrupted his rhythm a little bit, allowing it to drift down the leg side.
Essex unchanged, so Critchley, Allison, Benkenstein, Harmer, Snater, Cook and the Mere to come. As this next one sees Elgar get a ball which is just slightly short, and he pivots it away with a good stroke off the back foot down towards the long leg boundary. It will be cut off by a deep backward square running round, and they have to settle for 2. That was well stopped by Smeed. Had some ground to cover.
It certainly was. I'd almost given that up. We can't see the boundary down in that corner of the ground.
Good shot from Elgar, the swivel pull. He would have been thinking 4 when he hit it, but Smeed got round from sort of deep backward square more towards long leg, or even sort of more towards fine leg, really. That was a good piece of athletic fielding, and those fielders in the deep on the leg side, as we've been saying during the afternoon, there's now a deep mid wicket as well, have a lot of ground to cover to save runs. Elgar on strike gets a similar ball. It's a bit short, slower ball as well from Overton, and pulled round again out to Smeed at deep square leg. That's only going to be 1, but that was a better over for Essex. 29 for 2. Just think how many runs from that, David. In the end, it was over 10. 13 off the over. Well, it hasn't changed the sort of the general feel of the game, but at least it's a better over for Essex. 29 for 2 after 5.
Well, we're going to see pace, but again, slightly curiously, it's going to be pace into the wind rather than pace with the wind. Do quick bowlers favour this River End?
I tend to go with what you're saying about. I tend to remember, some of the sort of the. Obviously, you've got Porter and Cook, who sort of have favoured ends in championship matches.
But
I tend to think. Well, he'll tend. I think he'll. I'm trying to think. I think he'll tend to bowl more from the other end.
Right. Anyway, Meredith it is. Big Tasmanian.
Got to be thinking now about what they do, but of course you've got to remember that Simon Harmer is normally bowling from the same end, and they're rotating. That's the thing. So that's why they tend to bowl from that end. The other end is much more.
He's bowling to Elgar, who swings and misses at a ball. Goes outside his leg stump, but he moved across his stumps to play it, and again I think that influenced umpire Debenham's decision not to call it a wide. So it's a dot ball. He's got a wonderful set of teeth, as Riley Meredith, a wonderful moustache. Not quite so enamoured of his hairstyle. He's one of several Somerset cricketers with a bit of a mullet going on. He's scurrying in now. He's there and bowls quick, and that's launched away through the onside for. I'm not sure whether it landed just short of the boundary. It didn't. It carried the boundary. That's the first 6 of the innings. 35 for 2. Well, if you bowl flat out, pace on, it's always the risk that you take. That if the batsman does middle an attacking shot, it's going to travel, and that one certainly did travel. Elgar on to 17 as Meredith is in and bowls. This is a much better ball. They'll take a single as Tom Abel fields from back on the fielding circle at mid-on.
Well, Dean Elgar, who was sort of relatively new to sort of domestic T20 in England when he played last year, did a good job. By his own admission, just faded slightly at the end of the competition, but you could say the same about the whole Essex side, really. But they didn't quite get over the line. But he's pretty important here with 2 early wickets gone, and he's starting to find his range.
36 for 2 in halfway through the 6th over. Meredith, this long run up, straightens up as he's up to the crease and bowls, and this is launched away, and oh, what a catch! What a catch! Quite amazing catch down at deep backward square leg, plucked out of the air. I think that's Thomas Rowe. That's quite an astonishing catch. One of the best catches I have ever seen, and he's being congratulated by his teammates. I don't think they can quite believe it. I'd given that up. I thought that was 6 all the way. What an absolutely stunning catch. And
gosh, we'll see the replay in a minute, but while we're waiting for that, when fielders do that, they normally parry it over the bar, don't they?
They do.
But he didn't. Brilliant. You can describe what you saw there.
Well, he just with his his right hand, he just plucked it out of the air. It's like picking an apple off a tree.
That's an analogy, really. The difference is the apple isn't coming through at a fair rate of knots. At least you know where it is. But I mean, I'm just astonished, like you are, for that. I mean, he just made it look so easy, and that's the sort of thing that tends to happen for a side of sort of playing with confidence. It's just an outstanding bit of work, and that's a big wicket. We're talking about Elgar, but Walter, he has been in very good form for Essex, and we know about his T20 credentials, but that's a big blow.
Well, Thomas Rowe, what a fielder, what a catch. Here's Meredith, the new batsman, who is Matt Critchley. Meredith in and bowls to Critchley. He won't get a run here as Tom Abel closes in on the ball. And Craig Overton clapping his hands at mid-off. Another big wicket for Somerset. He's such a dangerous customer, is Paul Walter. Hits the ball so hard, and he middled that one. There was nothing of a top edge about it. It was going for 6 if Thomas Rowe hadn't intercepted it. Meredith into Critchley, turns this into the onside. He might get a run, but he won't get a run as Goldsworthy recovers well at mid-wicket. So that's the power play done and dusted, and they often say you don't win games of T20 cricket if you lose 3 wickets in the power play. I'm not sure that necessarily holds good, but Somerset, I think it would be fair to say, Nick, have had the better of the first power play.
Very much so. I was just thinking, with Elgar getting going and knowing how much of a banker Paul Walter is, often in these sort of games, that it was just a little bit of a change of a turning of a tide, but that's a big wicket.
Spin. Goldsworthy.
So Lewis Goldsworthy is going to have a go from the Graham Gooch end. Still partly cloudy, still areas of blue sky, still the sun going in and out, still around 20 degrees, still very pleasant with just a light breeze, which is a fairly warm one. It's not going to cause too much discomfort, perhaps until after 6 o'clock, but we'll see what happens then. 36 for 3. Goldsworthy's left arm spin, bowls to Elgar, and Elgar just comes forward, checks his shot, plays it back to the bowler, and there's no run.
He didn't give that much air.
No, it was fairly flat.
Didn't come on to bowl until quite late in the piece on Friday.
Another flat one, and Elgar with a little deft use of the hands there, just reverses his hands and plays it away past a short third man, away for 4. That was very effortlessly done, and I have to say Dean Elgar seems to have got over that shock on Friday night of being run out first ball, and is settling into a pretty useful innings here, and my word, Essex need it. 22 from 17, 40 for 3. Here's Goldsworthy again. This is clipped away nicely. That's more runs. That's between deep mid wicket and long on. They're going to get back for the second as the throw comes in from deep mid wicket, and well, that's Lammonby out there, and Elgar, I have to say, looking good. He's scoring a sort of like different places, making the bowler guess, and looking quite comfortable out there. He's on 24, 42 for 3, and here he makes it 4-2, and possibly another 2 as it's hit with no pace out towards the mid-wicket, but Lammonby spots the possibility, gets in very quickly, prevents the second run.
Good fielding, quickly onto the ball, and got his throw away quickly as well.
Elgar, because there's plenty of 2s out there, and part of Lammonby's job is to stop that where he can. So 25 to Elgar. Critchley has to strike. Essex rather relying on Elgar's knock so far, but it's been a good one. 43 for 3. They need a partnership, really. 7th over. They chose to bat. And Goldsworthy fires that one into Critchley, who plays it into a big open space on the onside, but it's such a short boundary out there. Sometimes you get the 2 for that shot with no pace, but there's no chance on this particular ground in that direction because the boundary is too short. It's just going to be 1, and it's 44 for 3. Again, a slightly better over for Essex. Here's Elgar getting another very, very flat one and turning it past the square leg umpire and thinking of a second, but it's not going to be there because Smeed comes in and davers it and throws with a flick throw to end the over and to keep Elgar on strike. It's a good over for Dean Elgar, that. He scored all but 1 of the runs in the over. He's on to 26. Essex are 45 for 3. We've had 7 overs.
Interesting that the boundary rope has stayed exactly where it was for the women's game. Did they change it at Hampshire on Friday?
I'm sure they did. I'm sure it was brought in quite a lot.
I mean, really, you know, for a women's game of cricket, it's a very long boundary on the pavilion side of the ground.
I'm going to keep an eye on that, Anthony, to see the next time we do a double header whether they do change it.
Lewis Gregory is going to bowl from the Alistair Cook end. He's bowling to Dean Elgar, who is cramped for room and plays it back to the bowler, and there is no run.
Oh, well, England 93 for 4, chasing 309, so there could be a decider on the cards for the third of those one-day internationals, with Jos Buttler out for naught and Joe Root's still there on 37, chasing 309.
It's Gregory in and bowls. There'll be a run here, just the one, as Overton comes in from the boundary. I've got a Steve Pittard stat. Thank you, Steve, for this. Steve, retired joint landlord of the Rose and Crown at Hewish Episcopi, better known as Eli's. Should Lewis Gregory take a wicket, he would have done the double of 1,500 runs and 150 wickets in domestic T20, which is a pretty useful record. He's bowling to Critchley. Critchley won't get a run here. He's been plagued with injuries throughout his career, Lewis Gregory, and after almost every game I ask at the end of the game, can I have an interview with Lewis Gregory? Oh, he's on the treatment table. that isn't, you know, following me
a way
off.
of getting out of
genuine.
your tough interviews.
This is pulled into the onside, and they will come back this time for a second run, because Lammonby had a long way to run in, probably 40 yards from the onside boundary, and 2 runs are taken. 48 for 3. Critchley on to 3. Hasn't quite got into his stride yet.
You see, with Walter and Pepper already out, and Rossington, you know, everybody else made single figures on Friday.
There's Gregory to Critchley. Hammers this back down the ground, and Smeed won't cut that off as he scurries across below us. The ball had just too much way on it. That was muscled down the ground by Matt Critchley, and that's the Essex 50 on the board. 52 for 3 in the 8th over. As Gregory tries again, he's into Critchley, and he won't. They're going to take a run. Oh, if Tom Abel had picked that up cleanly, but he took his eye off the ball as he was going to shy at the stumps at the non-striker's end, and they completed the single satisfactorily. Enough. 53 for 3, 8 to Critchley, 27 to Elgar, and we've had 8 overs.
Yeah, so these two made 0 and 4 respectively on Friday, so looking to try and find their first T20 form of the season. It's a big partnership, and it started reasonably well. They're just trying to settle this Essex innings down because it's obviously been hit with 3 early wickets, but 53 for 3 in 8. He's starting to get some sort of a platform. Critchley is facing Goldsworthy and will get one on his pad, which he just works away into the onside. It's going to be picked up at short fine leg by Ben Green. It's a leg by, so no addition to Critchley's score, but 1 to the Essex total. 54 for 3, and we're in the 9th over. Bright sunshine at the moment, so these banks of high, not threatening cloud, just sort of cotton wool cloud, as Elgar advances to this one and hits it away, and it goes for 4. It's a bit of a misfield, I think, in the end.
Craig Overton,
I lost sight of it, yeah, and I looked from the cheers of the crowd, or the jeers of the crowd, as though he was going to stop it, and it went through him. But that's a valuable boundary for Elgar.
Yeah, well, very unlike Craig Overton. He was just a little bit slow getting down.
And that's another good shot from Elgar. He's playing well here, and this is going to be a second run. There should be no problem with that. It's a good throw, but they were going to get through for 2 because of a long boundary. Overton did his best there, but very hard to prevent the 2s with that distant
some
outfield.
Venom in that throw.
Yes, yes, and be looking to pull off a couple of wickets in his next over to quieten the crowd.
Getting a bit of lip from the crowd.
Here's Elgar, well, another very good shot. Oh, that's a very good stroke from Elgar for 4. My word, he's playing well here. And he, as I say, he did pretty well in the T20 last year. Obviously, anyone can get out first of all in bizarre circumstances on Friday night, but here he's showing his real value in a situation where Essex are really in trouble with the early wickets. He's been instrumental in settling the innings down, and he's gone 4-2-4 here off Goldsworthy. And this is another stroke away into the onside. Not quite as well timed as that last one, which is a superb shot through mid-wicket. This goes up to Overton, who gets a bit of jip from the crowd, but it's single to Elgar. And as I say, just at the moment, Goldsworthy going for a few, 20 from his first 11 balls, and Essex just shifting the momentum slightly here in the 9th over. 65 for 3, with Critchley on 8. On strike, gets a full toss, drives it away into a gap. There could be a rare 2. No, in fact, there would have been because the fielder slipped, but they chose not to go for it. There aren't many 2s on that short side of the ground. Deep mid-wicket and long on converged, long on slip, but by that time they decided they wouldn't go for the second run. But that was a very good over for Essex, and 66 for 3 it is at the end of it. In the end, we had 12 from it. Goldsworthy has number 21, and we've had 9 overs.
I think that's probably enough from Lewis Goldsworthy. I'm not sure that this is the pitch for him. Looks like Craig Overton's going off for something. Unless he's just going to take... No, he's just going to be fielding down at long on. And Ben Green is going to come into the attack.
Elgar, by the way, 38 from 26, which is rather more than his career T20 rate, so he's playing really well here.
It's going to be Green to Critchley, and this is turned away into the onside. Should just be a single, and is just a single as Will Smeed fields. He's a very effective T20 performer, is Ben Green. He's got one of the best strike rates in the business.
Somerset will still be hopeful, I think, of keeping Essex down to 180, which I think they'd regard as acceptable.
Here comes Green, this time to Elgar in bowls, and Elgar will pick up a single as Gregory comes in off the long on boundary. Not a normal position for a captain to field.
A couple of quick wickets, and it might be rather less than that, but at the moment Essex have got to be thinking about adding, well, 100 plus more runs and getting up towards 180 or a bit more.
There's Green again, bowls, and Critchley down the pitch, turning this into the onside. This should just be the single, as Lannonby is quickly in to do the fielding. And yes, Ben Green, thank you Steve Pittard for this, has the second lowest strike rate in 2020. That's the second best strike rate. He takes a wicket every 13.2 deliveries. As he's in bowls, this is swung away in the air and over the top of Tom Abel at deep mid-wicket for 6. Ben Green making the mistake there of dropping short, and Dean Elgar, who's looking in fine touch.
I think this is probably the best T20 innings I've seen from him. He's only got 45 from 28, but as I say, this is far exceeding his career strike rate in T20. He's currently striking at 160, and it's against a very good attack, albeit on a good pitch.
Here's Green in and bowls, and this is chipped into the offside. It could be a catch. It's going to land safe as Lewis Goldsworthy ran from mid-wicket and Lewis Gregory from long on, and the ball eluded either at both of them. It's just a single was taken, 76 for 3. Yeah, Ben Green's strike rate 13.2. The only better one, this is in domestic T20, is Scott Curry of Hampshire, just over 13. This is launched, and that is going to go for 4 to the longest corner of the ground, or the furthest corner of the ground from where the batsman was striking. So that was an expensive over. 9, 10, 14 from it. And well, this Essex innings is beginning to take real shape. 80 for 3 at the halfway mark.
Yeah, it's taken a while, but these are better signs for Essex. I think there would have been a bit of worry around the crowd when those 3 early wickets went down. But Elgar really has been outstanding with his 46 from 29, and Matt Critchley, of course, you know, he was primarily sort of known for his his white ball cricket, and was very much part of the thinking when he was signed for Essex, and he's played very well as well. So they have built this useful partnership, and looking to add to it now as Gregory bowls, and that's played up into the covers, and there's no run. Championship opener Lewis Gregory's done a pretty good job in that role, and that one's just played up to cover, and it's fielded by Goldsworthy, and there's no run. It's 80 for 3, and we're halfway through. Just thinking about what Somerset would settle for here. I was thinking 180, but obviously they still have to go at 10 and over to get that, but they've got 7 wickets in hand. Here is Gregory again, bowls at a slower one and pulled away through the gap at mid-wicket by Elgar for a single out towards deep mid-wicket, 81 for 3.
Well, last 2 times they played here, Somerset have chased down totals in excess of 180, 186 a couple of years ago and 188 the year before that. So I think they'll be reasonably confident of chasing anything sort of below 190 maybe.
Yeah. Essex might be looking for a few more than that if they can keep this partnership going.
It's a fast scoring ground.
Yeah.
Fast outfield, good pitch.
These two are put on 45. They came together after 4 balls of the 6th over. So they've done it in pretty good time. There's been a bit of acceleration here as well. Gregory goes over the wicket, bowls to Critchley, who plays a quite audacious shot, and he's hit this virtually right behind him, just reversing his hands, and he's hit it for 6, almost immediately behind the keeper. Quite extraordinary deft shot, but that's a pretty fine way to bring up the 50 partnership. Not quite sure how else to describe that. It was a remarkable shot with the reversed hands.
A sort of reverse slog sweep.
Immediately behind him. That's where the fielders aren't, of course, once you clear the keeper. It's a pretty good place to hit it. 87 for 3, Essex starting to move, and here's Critchley getting a good one from Gregory, which he tries to drive, and he plays and misses, and it goes through the Cola Cavmore, and there's no run. But Essex starting to get some momentum with this 50 partnership, which has come in good time. Critchley 21. As I say, much needed, because they were wobbling quite precariously, I think, at the start of the innings. Starting, but it is a good pitch, we should underline that. Is Gregory, bowls, that's hit in the air, out towards deep mid-wicket, and over, just goes for 6 into the public seats. Not too far away from the fielder who had hopes for quite a long time there. It's the short boundary, but Critchley got enough on it and gets his second maximum of the over. 27 to him, 93 for 3.
I think that was Thomas Roux out there again.
Yeah, he almost did it again with the outstretched hand. I think it was a bit further away from him this time. He needed to be a couple of feet taller, but I mean, it was a pretty good shot from Critchley, who's going himself now, 27 from 15. Here's Gregory again, bowls, and Critchley doesn't time miss. He hits it back down the ground and it's fielded by Gregory in his follow-through. So he played a Mr. One, he miscued one, but he got a couple of quite audacious maximums. So all told, Essex have done pretty well in the last few overs. They've gone to 93 for 3, Elgar 47 from 31, and Critchley 27 from 16. And the contest has evened up, Anthony.
It has. These two have added 64 in 5.2 overs. So Somerset need a wicket, and Gregory is calling upon his main, well, one of his two main strike bowlers, Riley Meredith. No, correction, three main strike bowlers, Meredith, Henry and Craig Overton. Meredith's just bowled the 1 over so far, 1 for 7. But he's a pace-on merchant, is Riley Meredith. And again, there's an element, Somerset, apart from Ben Green, they don't have the sort of Gloucestershire style dibbly-dobbly pace-off type bowlers who can be so effective on slow pitches. This one is a pretty good pitch.
Like the one you'll get on finals day, probably.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the alarming thing.
Here's Meredith into bowl to Elgar, who swings hard, probably too hard, and just gets a single. He didn't time it. Goes out to Tom Abel, 94 for 3.
Common theme of Edgbaston, they tend to produce decent pitches but struggle a bit in September. Certainly have with the Vitality Blast finals. I just wonder if, the ideal scenario for me would be Trent Bridge hosts finals day and you have a 50 over final at Lords, a proper 50 over final at Lords.
Yes.
Or move it to late July. Move it to late July. Might get a better wicket.
Is Meredith in bowls to Critchley, who turns it into the onside. They're going to think about coming back for the second run, and they do indeed, and it's not picked up cleanly by Tom Lammonby, and it wouldn't have made much difference even if it had been, because they were always going to take a comfortable 2 there. 96 for 3. I think from next season we probably will see finals day being moved back to July.
Yeah, which is where it should be ideally.
So that the whole tournament is finished in one block.
Yeah.
Rather than this ridiculous business
probably about the last Saturday of July is a natural home for it.
Here's Meredith into Critchley, short, and umpires look at each other and they reckon that's all right. Critchley jumps up on the spot with his bat raised as if to say, how could I possibly have reached that? But it was probably, well, it's not on the screen at the moment, but just about head high. It was good bouncer, quick.
Yes, you've got to give the bowler some leeway, haven't you, in this
trouble is, if you bowl that and they get a top edge, it's, chances are to go for 6.
Yeah.
As Meredith comes steaming in, he's there, bowls, and this is pulled in the air, but it's safe, and it should just be a single as Lammonby's throw comes in over the top of the stumps. 97 for 3 in the 12th. Essex won the toss here this afternoon and decided to bat. It's a beautiful afternoon. The Essex women have celebrated a very comfortable win over the Somerset women by 65 runs, and Somerset men now seeking revenge.
They won't win by that many, some of the Essex men, but I'm sure. But it's going to be quite a tight game, I think.
It's Meredith to Elgar, who's on 48. He's in bowls, and this is drilled to Lewis Goldsworthy, but all along the ground at extra cover. Elgar needing 2 for his 50. 48 from 33 deliveries. He's been the mainstay of this Essex innings, although Critchley is rapidly catching up with him. 3 of the Essex big guns back in the pavilion. Rossington, Pepper and Walter. 29 for 3 Essex were, 42 for 3 at the end of the power play. Here comes Meredith in bowls down the leg side, an appeal for a catch down the leg side.
Not a wide.
It must have clipped something, presumably the pads of Dean Elgar, because as Nick Gledhill's just said, it hasn't been given as a wide, and Riley Meredith's just having a friendly chat with Ben Devon, who was probably explaining the clip the pad, mate. Clip the pad. 97 for 3 after 12 overs. 30 to Critchley, 48 to Elgar.
So this good partnership continues. Matt Henry's coming back, so just what Essex would have least wanted probably, but just shows you the strength in depth in this Somerset bowling attack. They've got plenty of options, and he's got 1 for 5 in 2 overs. Well, if it's carries on at that rate, it's going to be very good news for Somerset. But obviously, part of the thinking here with Meredith and Henry bowling would be to try and get a wicket, break this partnership. 97 for 3.
I'm sure that's why Lewis Gregory's brought him back.
Yeah. So, anyway, it's going to be Matt Henry coming in from the Graham Gooch end to bowl to the other Matt Critchley, which is clipped away. It's a beautiful shot. It's on the pads, and actually Henry puts his hands to his head because he knows he's put that in the wrong place. It's the short boundary. It's on the pads of Critchley. He's hit it away down to the backward square leg boundary, and that's pretty much a gimme 4, not what Henry would have ideally wanted there. He'll bowl many better deliveries than that one. The 100 is up in the 13th over, and suddenly a game which looked, well, not lost at an early stage, but put it this way, Essex were the boxer on the ropes that had been hit by a couple of punches in the first round. Well, they're very much in this game now. 101 for 3 in the 13th. Here's Matt Henry again. It's a reverse scoop. That's another very audacious shot from Critchley, and another brilliant 6. Well, this is some partnership now, because Critchley is hitting 6s. I think that's his 3rd, and he's gone along to 40 in 21 balls. Both these two in the 40s. And that one just a little bit shorter from Matt Henry, and Critchley, using the fact that it's a good pitch, he can rely on what it's going to do. He's gone back, he's played that reverse scoop virtually behind him, and well, Colin Cobhamill's standing back. He's going to have to stand a lot further back to have any chance of catching that. 107 for 3. Encouragement for the Essex supporters here. Here is Henry again, bowls, and Critchley plays a sort of a pull drive, not particularly timed, but goes out to long on for a single, but been effective in this over so far. 4-6-1. Matt Critchley with 2 6s and 3 4s. Maybe that's not up. No, it's not been updated. It's 3 6s and 3 4s. So 108 for 3.
79 the partnership's worth now. 7.1 overs.
It's putting Essex right into the game as Matt Henry bowls again round the wicket, bowls to Elgar, and Elgar gets one just back of a length, which he drives up to long on, and Somerset will be quite happy just to make sure there's no more than a single, which is indeed the case as fielding is completed out there. But 109 for 3, and suddenly 190 becomes part of the equation, even if things went very well, something close to 200. Somerset will be hoping to keep it below that. It's been a much better Essex display. They've virtually got more than they got on Friday already. Here's Critchley with a pull drive, brilliant shot. That's 6 over straight mid-wicket. And he really is playing a magnificent innings. I mean, Elgar was really taking the honours a little while ago, but this is something quite special from Matt Critchley. 47 from 23 balls, I think it is.
Yeah, terrific shot, because it wasn't that short. It was just short of a length. Just missed his length slightly, Matt Henry. And Critchley needed no second invitation.
This is great batting from Critchley in particular at the moment. That's his 4-6. Here's Henry again, bowls, and that's driven away, and it's well stopped at extra cover. There is a single, a yard either side. That was another 4. They've got through after a slight misfield. It's a very good stop, to be honest. And that's an expensive over from Matt Henry, which cost in the end, David, I reckon 16. 16? 19. Wow. 116 for 3. Dare I say Essex be even moving slightly ahead at the moment. Critchley 48, Elgar 49. And this partnership has not only rescued Essex, it's given them a real toehold in the game.
Well, Somerset need a wicket. It's as simple as that, and the skipper is going to bring himself on in order to try and get that wicket.
Returning number 24, Lewis Gregory.
The run rate now is about 9 runs and over. Somerset, they won't want to find themselves chasing more than 200. It's Gregory to Critchley on 48. He's turned into the onside. They're just going to take the single. as Lamonby comes in from deep straight mid-wicket to do the fielding.
91 the stand, 81 pardon, but still very impressive, and both looking very set. Critchley particularly has taken the honours in recent times.
Gregory still needing his wicket for 150 wickets and 1,500 runs in domestic T20 cricket. He's in and bowls to Elgar, who swings this away. Should just be a single, and that's Dean Elgar's 50. 50 for Dean Elgar from 36 deliveries with 5 fours and 2 sixes, and you can hear what the crowd think of that piece of batting from Dean Elgar. A shaky start from Essex, but Elgar has held things together and provided the foundation of what's becoming an impressive score. This is driven down the ground by Matt Critchley, and that's his 50. From 26 deliveries, so 10 deliveries fewer, 3 fours and 4 sixes.
Yeah, just that slightly quicker innings, you'd expect that, but both have played equally well here, and they've given the home crowd real encouragement, and actually given the Essex T20 season some encouragement after what happened on Friday night.
Gregory to the left-handed Elgar. This is up in the air, and it should be a catch, and it's taken. It's Tom Abell with the catch out in the deep, and that is the end of Dean Elgar, 50 and out. Gregory's got his 150th wicket to go with his 1,500 runs in domestic T20 cricket, and of more immediate importance, Dean Elgar is on his way back to the pavilion for exactly 50. Caught Abell, bowled Gregory.
Yeah.
And it's 119 for 4.
Apart from those nasty Essex supporters trying to put him off, that was a very well judged catch. But no, they were encouraging Tom Abell to drop that. But great professionalism shown by
only at Chelmsford.
No, I mean they'll do. They would very much like Elgar to have carried on there. Charlie Allison, who got that 100 in the championship at the Oval. I think he was out virtually first ball the other night. Critchley, you know, he's never got more than 80 in a T20 innings. He's played 142 games. He's never got more than 80. And this is a great chance for him to get 100. He's still got time to get it. And it could just be the difference for Essex with him as a set batter if he can go on and get something really big.
Well, I said Somerset needed a wicket. Gregory brought himself back on in order to claim it, and claim it he did. I'm not sure whether that was a top edge or just a slightly mistimed shot. He hit it too high in the air. Dean Elgar carried a long way, and a good catch by Tom Abell. Is Gregory into Allison, who drives it back past the bowler and will take a single as Ben Green tidies up. 120 for 4. Critchley is the man that Somerset would like to remove now. Presumed to be Luke Benkenstein in next, and then Simon Harmer.
Yes, Benkenstein, both useful batters, but Benkenstein in particular developing in that role.
Gregory into Critchley, who turns it down to deep square leg. That was quite short from Lewis Gregory. Slightly high risk delivery, but he gets away with it. It's just the single. Just 5 runs and a wicket off that Gregory over. At the end of it, Essex are 121 for 4. We've got 6 overs remaining.
Yes, and certainly a needed wicket, needed breakthrough for Somerset. They'll be pleased with that. Won't have thought that things are getting out of hand, but certainly they'd be pleased to have broken that partnership, and they'd like the double breakthrough, of course, with getting rid of Critchley as well, because he really has played outstandingly well, far in excess of his normal career T20 strike rate, which is only just over 120 runs per 100 balls. He's going at 189 at the moment in this innings, and it's been quite brilliant to watch. And here he hits this one along the ground out towards deep cover, but there's no run. The first ball of a new Matt Henry over, and it's a dot ball. Critchley stays on 51 from 28. Allison has a single with Dean Elgar just out,
Absolutely middled that, did
Yeah, he hit it pretty well.
A yard either side of Lewis Goldsworthy, and that would have been 4.
So, Critchley on 51.
I think he's enjoying the challenge of facing Riley Meredith on a good pitch.
Here he comes in to bowl, and that's just played out into the offside again, and rolls out towards cover. Didn't quite time that one as well.
That was the Yorker.
Yeah.
That was the Yorker.
Well, we had to dig it out, really.
Wide Yorker. Wide out, well, not particularly wide, just outside off stump Yorker.
But sometimes a wicket can just slow momentum, and Essex are looking to try and pick things up again, because we're into the 15th over. Sort of projected score is starting to drift back towards 180, but that can still change. But Essex will want a few more than that, and there's no reason why they can't get them if they can build another partnership.
Is Meredith then to...
This next delivery just played up towards cover, and they scamper through for a quick single. So in the 15th over here, and yeah, 123 for 4. It's really, I think, a big question is, can Critchley go on? Having got this 50,
I think he holds the key.
Can he play the major innings, which I think might be needed here?
Yeah, he's the key man.
Yeah. Here's Henry again, bowls. Oh, that's well pitched up, and it goes just in front of Meredith at sort of short third man come fly slip. Fell short of him, but it was just attempt to work it past that fielder, and it went straight to him. It's clipped him on the fingers a little bit, but he's okay, and they've scampered through for
good
a single.
again from Matt Henry, wasn't it?
Some good use of the Yorker here from Henry, just restricting the scoring in this over. 124 for 4. We've only had the 3 singles from the 4 balls, which is pretty good going, I think, for Somerset's perspective. With only 4 wickets down, we're in the 15th over. In he comes again from the Graham Gooch end, bowls to the new man Allison, and plays and misses outside the off stump. And this is I think one of those indicators that when a wicket goes, it can just stall momentum, albeit briefly, and that's just happened here. 124 for 4. Sun's gone in for the time being, but the crowd attentively watching on, hoping that Essex can get another 60-odd plus runs here if they can. Good bank of spectators as ever in front of the pavilion. Lots of youngsters, families in on a Sunday. Not absolutely full away in the public seats. There are still some seats to be seen there. There's this one driven away and goes past the umpire, who's standing at point, and goes out towards deep backward point, and that's Lammonby. A single to end the over, which probably Somerset won't be too distraught about. Gregory 1 for 20. Sorry, that's the end of Henry's over. They whisked the bowling figures off very quickly. I was going to give you Henry's figures, but they've
1 for 25.
1 for 25, we think. Henry's figures. So it's 125 for 4.
No,
Allison 3.
1 for 28.
Yeah, 1 for 28. There we go. Critchley 53 and Allison 4. We've got 5 overs to go.
And Lewis Gregory's going to have to juggle his bowlers to. Ben Green's got 3 left. And he's bowling to Allison, who launches this in the air. Could be a catch. Lammonby's underneath it and takes a brilliant catch. An absolutely brilliant catch down at straight mid-wicket. That was anything but straightforward in the deep, that from Tom Lammonby. It was swirling in the wind, and he judged it to perfection. And that's the end of Charlie Allison's brief sojourn at the crease. Just watch the replay. Could only just see Tom Lammonby, and what a brilliant catch, taking it inches from the turf, two-handed, getting both hands underneath the ball. Beautifully judged, beautifully taken.
That's a great example, isn't it, of momentum stalls. Allison back on strike, thinking he needs to try and get a big hit. The catch was virtually taken out of our sight, and the only way we knew it had been held was the reaction of his colleagues, which obviously
the reaction of the crowd wasn't exactly
was quiet.
static.
Yeah, that also gave us a clue. There weren't any jeers. But Benkenstein coming in. You could say with Cook and Amir the last 2, it's a bit of a tail there. So. I think the critical thing here is to Critchley get as much of a strike as possible, and the others to work around him.
So Ben Green to Luke Benkenstein. He's in bowls, and Benkenstein pulls this out to Lallenby all along the ground. This time, Luke Benkenstein is 20. Son of a famous father, of course. And born in Durham, which is the county town of the county for which his father used to play. Here's Ben Green then to Critchley, short, pulled. This is in the air, but it's going to land safe. Lallenby taking it on the first bounce. Critchley's fed up with himself and swishes his bat in irritation.
Good comeback.
Shortcomings.
Yeah, good comeback from Green after a fairly expensive first over here. He's brought about the wicket.
He went for 14 in his first over. Tall, upright, strong. In bowls, pulled. Could be another catch to Lallenby. Takes the catch. Running in from the boundary, and 2 wickets in the over for Ben Green. What a golden arm he has got. It's 127 for 6, and that's the end of Luke Benkenstein, caught by Lallenby off Green for just 1. And well, Somerset were taking some punishment from Critchley and Elgar, but they've come roaring back with 2 wickets in an over. Well bowled Ben Green.
We were just highlighting before that ball that he'd sort of had a good recovery over, and it's more than that now with 2 wickets and 2 singles. Now, they are hitting to the long boundary. That wasn't hit as well as Allison's was, but obviously hitting to the long boundary, and it might just be some sort of changes of pace or whatever from Green are causing the problems there, because it's quite ambitious going for that long boundary, and both batters have fallen in similar fashion.
Well, with 6 down, it's giving Essex pause for thought. They won't be able to go for all-out attack just yet, because they can't really afford to lose another wicket just yet.
No.
So I dare say that won't inhibit Matt Critchley, but may influence how Simon Harmer, the Essex captain, approaches the task. So wicket, 1-1 wicket in this over from Ben Green. So far, he bowls short to Harmer, who chips this into the outfield and is caught by Will Smead out at deep mid-wicket. Well, Ben Green is on a hat-trick, and he's taken 3 wickets in the over. Well, 3 for 16.
I'm glad for the balance of the commentary, Anthony. And I just had time to mention that Green had had a good comeback over halfway through, having had an expensive first over. He couldn't possibly have dreamed of this. I mean, he's got wicket 1-1, wicket. Again, a pretty similar story. Maybe again, it's a back of a length delivery, looking for the long boundary on the pavilion side, and well, it's disappointing from an Essex perspective, and the crowd has gone very flat. So Green's on a hat-trick, and let's just say this is an innings of 3/3 at the moment. A bad start for Essex, a very, very good little middle bit, and now a rather worrying collapse. And poor Matt Critchley is knowing perhaps that Cook and Amir are the last 2. Now, Snater is a naturally aggressive player. It wouldn't be beyond the bounds of possibility if he was to go for... I think I know what sort of ball Ben Green is going to bowl here.
What, just bowl another one like the last 2? wait for the Essex batsman to hoik it into the outfield.
This could be the over that wins the match, quite frankly.
Right, Ben Green on a hat-trick. He's bowling to Snater. He's in and bowls. Snater won't... Oh, will probably get a single down to fine leg, as I think that's Riley Meredith away in the distance does the fielding. So, but a tremendous over from Ben Green, and there's a solitary Somerset supporter just down below us here. I think he's the only one in the entire ground who's applauding that over from Ben Green, which went for only 3 runs and included 3 wickets.
Yeah.
128 for 7.
So now, basically, Essex need these 2 to stay around for as much of the rest of the innings as possible, ideally all of it, and try and get another 40 runs. Maybe a touch more, but I think they'll settle for that the way things are at the moment. What's critical is that they don't lose any further wickets, because probably unreasonable to expect too much from the last 2 in terms of fast scoring. Not that certainly Sam Cook can't put bat to ball, but Snater is the better bet, you would have thought, if you look at his career record. And it's a question of how he's going to approach this, because Meredith's bowling and Essex cannot afford to lose another wicket and leave Matt Critchley potentially stranded. Critchley was potentially on course for 100, and now it's a question of whether he's going to run out of partners. Here is Meredith to bowl to him. Top class delivery. It beats Snater for pace, tries to drive down the ground, and it's a dot ball. 128 for 7. But 3 parts of his innings, there's no doubt about that. It has been quite remarkable. Wickets falling, just to illustrate that, at 4, 11 and 36, and then 119, 125, 127, 127.
Meredith's got 2 overs to bowl, so he'll bowl the 17th and the 19th. Matt Henry's bowled out, 1 for 28.
Overton.
Gregory's got 1 left, and Overton's got 1 left.
Right. 128 for 7. The tall Meredith comes into bowl, a full toss. Oh, goodness me. Snater was surprised by that, and he set off for a run, but he's in there and run out. Goodness me. Well, first of all, Snater was surprised, completely surprised by that. Critchley was looking for the run. Snater hadn't set off. He was about 2/3 of the way down the pitch, and he could not get back. It was a flick throw.
It's Craig Overton, I think.
The aforementioned Craig Overton, and that's a disaster for Essex. Snater wasn't really in a position for the run because he'd been surprised by a high full toss. I think it was quite ambitious to think that he would be, because the batter must always be taken by surprise and not quite sure of his whereabouts after getting a ball like that. And it was always unlikely, I think, that he was going to sort of respond to a call for a single.
Yep, Craig Overton with the direct hit. Terrific piece of fielding.
Well, it was an extraordinary thing, that, because Snater was totally surprised by the full toss and suddenly saw his partner charging at him. But
yeah, well,
it must take a little moment to get back in, get your senses back after you get a surprise delivery like that, which is only really just played up towards mid-on.
Poor old Shane Snater will be, he'll be shattered by that.
Yeah. It's hard to apportion blame, but Critchley, it's such a soft dismissal after such a great innings. 130 for 8, and here's Snater going to try and drive that one down the ground, and suddenly it's all Somerset. They wouldn't have been worried, but Essex have got right back into the game, and maybe had even just edged slightly ahead with that Elgar-Critchley partnership. But Somerset have been relentless since then, and Ben Green's triple wicket over is the sort of wicket over that just wins a match, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's won this one. 130 for 8. And now Essex are scrambling to try and get 150. Cook has come in, Amir to follow. Critchley's terrific innings cut short as he was stranded 2/3 of the way down the pitch. This is driven up towards mid-off, and really I think it's just a question of trying to bat out the overs and get to 150. But what a disappointment. Critchley 54 from 31 balls, 4 sixes and 3 fours. He was outstanding, as was Elgar, and making 50, and those two put on 83 runs, and they did it in pretty quick time. They were going at more or less 10 and over in that middle part of the innings. What a turnaround.
Yeah, extraordinary, but some good out cricket from Somerset as well. A couple of brilliant catches and a run out.
Meredith, the sight screen behind him, comes into bowl, and that's played by Sam Cook, just back down the pitch. Not known necessarily for his hitting. Cook, right. He's a perfectly capable batter.
Tough for tail-enders, though,
tough
against a bowler of Meredith's pace. See how far back Tom Curler-Cadmore is standing.
And when Critchley was batting, he would be better off being right back on the boundary. But that feels like quite a long time ago now. The whole game has changed with that Green over, and then this run-out. 131 for 8. You wouldn't have put Ben Green down right at the top of the list as the bowler of the over that potentially has won the game. Meredith bowls, that's a slower ball, very well executed, and Cook was looking to just glide it away backwards to go on the offside, but made no contact. But Somerset will be, well, cock-a-hoop is the sort of the proverbial phrase. They just want to close this out now, don't they? Potentially bowl Essex out.
Yep, and that would be ideal from the Somerset perspective.
And the crowd has gone quiet and flat, and it's understandable. 3 very similar dismissals in that Ben Green over, and then the run out after the full toss that surprised Snater. Quickly come down the pitch, couldn't get back. Here's a delivery which is hit in the air, an involuntary shot. It was a short ball from Meredith. Cook tried to hit it away into the onside. It flew off the leading edge, only just safe. But yeah, as you say, it's pretty hard work for tail enders like Cook against the likes of of Meredith. I think is Green going to get another over?
I think Green will probably bowl out now. I think he's got 2 overs left, hasn't he? Or is it just one?
He's
2.
got 3 for 17 from 2, so 132 for 8.
Yeah, he'll bowl 18 and 20, although it's possible Gregory might bring himself back for the 20th with Meredith bowling the 19th.
Oh, dare I say if it goes that far on recent evidence, but Essex will have to hope that it does.
So it's Green to Sam Cook in bowls short, and takes Sam Cook somewhere amidships, just probably in the inside of the thigh.
Well, it's not over
just taking
yet.
A few deep breaths, just collecting himself as Ben Green is in again and bowls. This is in the air and it's going to be safe, should just be a single as Will Smead fields out in the deep.
Ooh. Ben
Green running back to his mark.
The good news for Somerset is, even if they have to have an extra man in the circle, they've got Snater could cause damage, but it's not as bad as it could be.
Green in and bowls, and this is launched in the air and is going to land safe and go for 4. That's Snater, who is no mean performer with the bat.
If he's on strike when they've got the extra man in the circle, it might be more of a problem. But Essex will want as much of the strike on with Snater as possible.
137 for 8, halfway through the 18th over.
Got to get to 150.
15 balls remaining. Green to Snater, takes pace off, down the ground, over the top, and gone for 6. A flat batted 6 from Shane Snater. Again, Ben Green just bowling that short into the pitch. It sat up and Snater just whacked it down the ground. Uncomplicated shot.
Intelligent shot, because he didn't try to hit it away into the onside. He hit it to a much shorter boundary, more or less straight. 143
for 8. This is a Yorker driven down to Craig Overton below us. And it's just the single, 144 for 8. Ben Green, after that magic over, is taking some punishment. Gone for 12 so far in this over. He's in again and bowls short. This is helped away down to deep square leg just for a single. That's the end of the Green over. 11, 12, 13 from it. So 145 for 8 with 2 overs remaining. 13 to Snater and 3 to Sam Cook, and it will be Sam Cook at the business end for Riley Meredith's last over. Meredith just jogging back to his mark.
Again, it looks like only 3 Essex players in double figures. 2 of them made 50s. That's the remarkable thing. In Elgar and Critchley, and Snater's joined them. So here is Meredith to bowl. This is the 18th. It's a good delivery outside the off stump, and our Somerset supporter duly acknowledges the quality of that piece of bowling, which was just too quick for Cook.
Other Somerset supporters here. I saw a few as I was wandering around the ground.
Not the shortest of journeys, but they've made their way here and they'll be enjoying what they're seeing at the moment. 145 for 8. So in the 19th, well, try and get another 10, 12 runs, something like that. As here's Cook hitting it in the air but safe out towards cover, and the important thing from the Essex point of view is he scampered through for a single to give Snater the strike. So the best chance for Essex here, you would have thought, is Snater to come off. It's going to be hard against Meredith, but he's got the short boundary on the leg side.
Yeah, I think he'll just, if Meredith bowls anything like a length ball, Snater's just going to swing as hard as he can.
Got to try and get this beyond 150. It's 146 for 8. At one point, 190 looked on the cards. As here is Snater playing a good stroke away through the offside for at least 1 out of a long boundary. They're going to come back for the second. He keeps the strike. Lamonby does well. And they settle for 2, 148 for 8. But Meredith keeping it pretty tight, as you would expect. 0-1-2. And he's in his final over, 1 for 18. And we have 9 balls left of a very strange Essex innings that included what looked at one point like a potential match-winning partnership, but there's not been much on either side of it. 148 for 8. Meredith bowls again. That's hit in the air up towards
Craig
long on.
Overton.
Overton is there, and he takes the catch this time with his friends behind him and rolls the ball back. And that is the end of Snateren. And yeah, it always looked less likely against Meredith with his pace. Obviously trying to get the short boundary, but he got too far underneath it. And it's 148 for 9. And Mohammad Amir is going to be out to bat again, as he was on Friday, this time joining Sam Cook. And yeah, Essex not getting enough players in double figures in these first 2 games. And it looks like they're going to have that's a scenario, I think, of just 3. I think it was 3 on Friday and 3 here. So 148 for 9 doesn't look enough on this pitch. It's going to take something very special with the ball. 8 balls to go.
Well, Craig Overton continuing his remarkable record of catching in all forms of cricket.
Amir on strike, and here's Meredith to bowl to him, and that's a bit quick for Mohammad Amir. He tries to sort of just flick a bat at it and try and get it away into the offside, but it was a little bit too quick for Meredith, who's running back to his mark. We make it 5:17. So Somerset. So the one thing is that with Amir and Cook, they shouldn't be too fearful of having the extra person in the circle if that is required in the last over. As here is Amir with a flat back shot up towards mid-on. In fact, it might even be something that they would think of doing anyway. You never know. 148 for 9 at the end of the over. Cook for Amir, no score, to try and challenge the 2 batters to try and hit them over the top. But anyway, 1 over to go, and Green bowls out. It's been an interesting spell from him. 30 off 3 overs doesn't look special, but triple wicket over could be match winning.
And Riley Meredith finishing with figures of 2 for 18 in 4 overs. That's what combination of pace and accuracy can do for you. And as I suspected might happen, it's going to be the skipper who's going to bowl.
They're not letting Green, having given him the build-up there. They've not given him the last over. It's going to be Gregory.
I like this. I like to see the skipper taking responsibility.
Well, he certainly he's doing that at the moment. I mean, no more so than opening the batting in the Championship, where he's done well. The side's got a problem, and you've got the skills to be able to deal with it, and he's absolutely done the right thing for the side.
Right, last over, 148 for 9. Gregory to Sam Cook. He's in and bowls. Bowls him! Yorker, and that's the end of Sam Cook, and it's the end of Essex. They've been bowled out for 148 in 19.1 overs. That after being at one stage 119 for 3 when they looked on course for something above 180. 119 for 3 became 119 for 4, 125 for 5, 127 for 6, 127 for 7, 130 for 8, 148 for 9, and 148 all out. What a comeback by Somerset. What a fairly dismal collapse, Nick, for Essex.
Well, yeah, you look at the key moments, and obviously the dismissal of Elgar for 50 when he was going well. Gregory took that wicket as well. And then obviously we had that 3-wicket over from Green, which potentially is match winning. But then after that, perhaps the most mysterious incident of the innings, where Critchley obviously thought there was it would have been Snater's call. He got a full toss, which he played out into the onside. He would have been momentarily disorientated by getting the high full toss. He can't clearly have called Critchley through for a single, but Critchley came 2/3 of the way down, couldn't get back, and was run out. And Essex really missed Critchley being there at the end there. 148.
Well, I suspect Critchley had said to Snater
for the second half of the innings. I think I'm going to be doing an update. And we're back in 10 minutes.
So a reminder, you can join us on Saturday the 16th.
Yeah, and it's not very good news, because they looked like they were on for a good score when they were 119 for 3 with Elgar and Critchley both going well. But Elgar got out for 50. There was then an over from Ben Green with 3 very similar dismissals, 3 batters caught in the deep with a long boundary on the long side. And then Matt Critchley, who'd been quite superb in making 54 from 31 balls, run out. Snater got a high full toss, played it away into the onside. We think that the agreement was that they were going to run come what may. Critchley was 2/3 of the way down the pitch. Snater didn't move. He couldn't get back. Critchley was run out, and the rest of the innings fell away. Snater himself making 15, but 148 doesn't look enough against his strong Somerset side on this pitch. Essex bowled out just inside the 20th over.
Well, it's challenge time here on the outfield, and it's through our friends at Sombrero. They're my type of challenge, this, actually. There's 10 burritos up for grabs. We are joined by...
Rob.
And...
Molly.
Rob and Molly, well, they're dressed as burritos, and you are looking great, guys. Very quick one. How do you rate your chances on this assault course that we're going to go?
As a burrito, I like to think I've got an endless chance to win this race. I don't know about you, Molly.
I think I'm quite nimble, so we should be good.
Excellent. Well, what I'll do, I'll talk you through it very quickly. I'm not going to demo myself. You're going to start on the green cones, nice and simple. We're coming out through the ladders. You're going to bunny hop over the hurdles. We've got a zigzag on the green cones, which looks like a runway. You're going to move into the green box. Once you get to the green box, it's 5 press-ups. 5 press-ups, dressed as a burrito. You've got it. Once you've done that, you're making your way back. You need to do exactly the same thing coming back. The winner of those 10 burritos will be the first person to cross the green cone. All right, here we go then. Bit of encouragement from the crowd, please. Great noise from the boys up at the back there. Superb. Don't let me down. You're coming straight through. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. It's a good start. Over the hurdles, bunny hops. Look at this. Zigzag through the cones. That's it. We're into the green box. It's press-up time. Love that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So get your heads back through just so you can see where you're going. Molly, you still with us? This way, Molly, this way. There we go, Molly. Keep going. Boys on the balcony going very quiet back there. Rob's looking like he's winning this one. It's close. It's close. Rob, Molly, come to me. Rob, you are our winner. 10 burritos are coming your way.
Burritos!
He's incredibly pleased with that. We've got you a check here to hold. There we go. 10 burritos. Rob and Molly, everyone.
And welcome back on BBC Essex, BBC Radio Bristol, also via the BBC
Radio
Sport
Somerset,
BBC Radio Somerset, BBC Sport website and app, and also on the live stream, just temporarily gone down, hopefully not for long. But we have to say that this is very much Somerset's game to lose at the moment. They need 149 after bowling Essex out for 148. 50s for Elgar and Critchley, but a massive collapse after Elgar got out. And Essex have had a difficult few minutes in their dressing room as they try and work out how they're going to go about this. But key to it might be obviously some early wickets for Amir in particular and Sam Cook. But I'm Nick Leadhill. David Jackman, our scorer, is here, and as is Anthony Gibson. He'll be relatively satisfied after that.
I think relatively satisfied puts it quite nicely. Yes. Well, Somerset have done it again on Friday night. Surrey were 107 for 3 with Jason Roy ruling the roost down at Taunton, and they were bowled out for 146. And this afternoon, Essex 119 for 3, bowled out for 148. And great work from the Somerset bowlers, and brilliantly supported in the field. Quite stunning catches from Thomas Rue at deep backward square leg, and Tom Lammonby in cow corner, clutching the ball millimetres from the grass. And a very important run out by Craig Overton as well, who he had most of the stumps to aim at, but even so he needed to hit them to get rid of Matt Critchley, and hit them he did. So am I going to do the first over?
Yes, because we didn't get much of that 20th over, did we? So you carry on.
It's Mohammed Amir, veteran of small matter of 326 games of T20 cricket. He's bowling to Will Smeed, who just pushes this into a gap in the offside. There should be 2 here, as it's fielded by Critchley. And Somerset are underway. 149 they need on this fast scoring ground, decent pitch. Don't think the pitch had anything very much to do with the Essex batting collapse. Our monitor's gone down the live stream. Here's Amir into Smeed, who gets a good length ball and just plays it into the offside. We've got Paul Walter at slip. We've got a short fine leg, deep backward square leg on the boundary, mid wicket, mid on, mid off, extra cover, backward point, and presumably somebody else on the boundary down below us at third man. As Amir is into Smeed, who gets a Yorker and has appealed for an LBW. But no, we can't see the replay, so unless I can get on the Somerset live stream.
Yes, David Jackman, our scorer, just sending a comment about what was the key moment in that innings. So there were lots of them, but obviously 3 wickets at very similar dismissals in the same over. I think that could be the pivotal over, that Ben Green over.
Here's Amir to Smeed, who'll get runs here, probably 2 of them again. Yeah, they're coming back for the second as the throw comes in, and a good piece of fielding out there. Who's that out there in the deep neck?
Let's have a look. Might be Benkenstein, actually. Yeah. I would expect him to be out in the deep.
Good piece of fielding. 2 runs taken though, so Somerset on to 4 without loss. They need just under 7.5 runs and over, something like that. As Amir is into Smeed, who top edges this one over the top of slip down to the third man boundary for 4 runs, doubles his score, and Somerset go on to 8 without loss in the first over.
Elsewhere, you never know quite what sort of a pitch it is at Northwood School, but Middlesex only made 124 for 9, and Kane Williamson top score with 25 in that one against Glamorgan, who are on their first outing in the competition. Mason Crane took 4 for 28, which suggests it's spinning.
Here's Amir in bowls to Smeed, who works this down to the fine leg for another 4. just straying onto leg stump, Mohamed Amir, and helped on its way down to the long leg boundary by Will Smeed. So productive start for Somerset, 12 without loss in the first over.
And at Hove, Gloucestershire bowled Sussex out for 173, so they'll be pretty pleased with that if it's a typical Hove pitch. 58 for Tom Alsop, 43 for James Coles, and 3 wickets for Matt Taylor and 3 for David Payne. So I think Gloucestershire lost their first match in their defence of their title, so they're pretty well placed there. We might see if David can just put a call through to see if we can get our screen back, because I think it's gone down for the time being. We might just need to sort of just move it around and see if we can do anything with it there. So here is Cook to bowl, and that's out wide outside the leg stump, duly signalled. I'll send a little message actually to say that the screen's gone down. Sometimes it's just a little bit temperamental, but hopefully we'll get it back fairly soon.
I expect they put the replays up on the big screen out there, which I can just about see if I peer.
Normally just need to move it around a bit, and it sometimes will just come back on. But
look.
So here's Cook again, bowls, and that's attempt by Lammonby to work the ball away into the onside. It's slower ball, and it rolls back down the pitch, and there is no
first
run.
time Tom Lammonby's opened the innings in a T20 match for Somerset for some time.
So I'll just send a message while I'm commentating. Can't do much more than that, unfortunately, for the minute, but
fresh from his match-winning 100 up at Chester Street against Durham just over a week ago.
So here is Cook bowls, and that's pulled away, and that's a good shot. Just spotting it was slightly back of a length. It's a short boundary, and he's hit it into the well, up almost into the apartments there, certainly into the public seats. A good pick-up shot that from Lammonby, very authoritative, and takes Somerset along to 19 without loss, and that's a pretty good way to get your account up and running.
He does get out to that shot sometimes.
Sometimes with boundaries, of course, a bit longer than that one, I guess. But
he's hitting to the short boundary, and the wind is more helping than against.
So 19 for no wicket, and Lammonby on 6. Essex clearly need early wickets here in defence of 148, and they haven't got them so far. Here's Cook coming in from the Alistair Cook end, and an attempt to work the ball away into the onside comes off an inside edge, all going Somerset's way at the moment. It flies down to the fine leg boundary, and that is another 4. So Somerset have got the flying start they would have been wanting to get here. 23 for no wicket, just to really sort of put it in a position where they can sort of progress fairly comfortably once the power play's out of the way, and that's the way it's going at the moment. Here is Cook again, bowls, and that's squeezed away past the umpire at point, away for a single out to towards deep backward point, and one more goes to the score. But Snater moving in there, but Essex needs something quite miraculous here, and they must be feeling pretty deflated. Yeah, lots of analysis of what went wrong in that innings, but yeah, they were in a good position. They had fought very well. It was an excellent partnership between Elgar and Critchley. But suddenly they've only got 148 on the board. They were looking for at least 40 more than that.
It does make a difference though when you've got Matt Henry and Riley Meredith to bring back in the middle of an innings like that. Good captaincy from Gregory.
So Cook at 24 for no wicket comes in to bowl, and that's a good delivery, just pitches and leaves the right-handed Smeed, and it goes through to Rossington.
Smeed rather rooted to the spot there.
So
Will Smeed, who now has an all-format contract for Somerset, but hasn't managed to force his way back into the county championship side yet. But we live in hope.
So it's going to be Cook turning at the end of his run with a slip. Yeah, short fine leg mid-on, and 4 saving 1 on the offside. Comes into bowl. That's a good delivery with good bounce, good end to the over from Cook after being a bit expensive earlier on. But what Essex need is wickets, and they haven't got them yet. Amir's over's gone for 12. Cook's over's gone for 12. 24 for no wicket after 2. And the target is 149 in 20 overs.
Yeah, decent pitch this. There's a little bit of pace in it, for the quicker bowlers, and indeed for the batsmen to work with. But a couple of plays and misses. A couple of nicks that have gone to the boundary. So as Nick Gledhill was saying, things going Somerset's way so far, but that can very quickly change as Mohammed Amir comes in to bowl to the left-handed Lammonby, who plays that into the onside and takes a single, as picked up by Critchley, by the square leg umpire, Ben Debenham. The umpire's wearing shirts that are almost exactly the same colour as the Somerset fielding shirts, but as you will have observed, Nick, the Somerset batting shirts are quite different.
Absolutely, making it a bit more clear to tell.
Black on the back, and with the fuchsia confined to a panel on the front. Here's Amir to Smeed, who drives this away through the offside. Beautiful shot, driving it on the up and crashing it through extra cover. And that again shows just what a good pitch this is.
Yeah, it's a nice situation for these openers because they've got no particular pressure. They can just play the ball on its merits. They don't have to take any undue risks. And they're both progressing along pretty well. Plenty of boundaries.
I think Somerset will go hard, but they have gone hard right from the start. As Amir is in to bowl to Smeed, who turns this down to deep backward square leg, where I think it's Benkenstein down there doing the... No, it's not. It is. Who's it down there? Pass.
I'll have a look down there. End this over.
30 without loss. Somerset in the third over. 149 the target. Amir in bowls down the leg side, and probably a nick on that. We will see. In which case it was a drop catch by Adam Rossington. No, it's a leg by. Heaves a sigh of relief, does Adam Rossington. He went well across to his right. He's not the most athletic keeper, but he's a pretty good wicket keeper for all the extra poundage that he carries, Adam Rossington. Here's Amir into bowl to Smeed, who pulls this over the top. It's not gone for 6. Regrettably, it's gone for 4, and I say regrettably for a reason that may or may not become clear as his innings develops. 35 without loss in the third over.
Yeah, it was a good hit. Very nicely picked up.
And Amir taking some punishment. None for 22 so far, and in just his second over. This is driven down the ground, and Smeed steals a single as Simon Harmer was a little bit back on his heels, understandably enough, at mid-on. So another run is taken, 36 without loss after 3 overs, and Somerset have made the fast start that I've no doubt they were aspiring to.
Yes, and at the moment, not quite sure from the Essex point of view about what their prospects are going to be, because they desperately need a couple of wickets. It's Michael Pepper out there on that boundary in front of the public seats, away to our left at the moment. Always a bit of field rotation, of course, as we go through the innings. And Luke Benkenstein is now down at deep mid wicket on the pavilion side, but Essex desperate for a wicket to try and wrest something back in this game to give themselves a chance. 149 the target. Here's Cook with a slip in, comes into ball. That's hit in the air out towards Benkenstein, but it goes wide of him and goes away for 4. Pick up shot and hit it straight to the fielder at deep mid wicket, and it's gone through for 4. So Somerset move along very smoothly to 40 without loss, and we're 1 ball into the 4th over.
Yeah, he's a strong man, is Will Smeed.
Here's an unusual thing. A T20 match has a rain delay with 3 balls left of the 20th over in the second innings. But I can tell you that this is a ball which is just back of a leg. It might have come off the glove. Rossington is chasing it back. There's going to be 2 runs. We'll confirm 2 watts in a minute. But the umpire is going to signal leg by, so it's just come off the pad. And 2 more go to a total, 42 without loss. However, all fairly redundant, because at that stage Yorkshire needed 67 to win in 3 balls, so it didn't really matter. They didn't want to get too wet. So Worcester are going to win that one at New Road very comfortably against Yorkshire in the Northern Group. As this was slower ball and hit over slip for 4, everything going the way of Somerset at the moment.
Well, if you bowl short,
yeah,
you must expect that the batsman will get a top edge from time to time, especially when you're swinging as hard as Will Smeed is.
Yeah, and just past the result of that National League playoff final after extra time, Oldham 3, Southend 2. So
no!
Have to stay
Black
in the
day for
National League.
Essex.
Yes, it's looking like that. It's fairly a joint summing up, I think, at the moment.
We bleed for you.
So a slip and 5 saving 1 as that's played away up towards mid-off. Quick single shot, the stumps comes in. But it's missed, and they've gone through for a second run. It's sort of just summing up everything that could go wrong is going wrong at the moment for Essex. It was just a flick throw from Harmer, but it missed, and they were able to get through for a second run. So
good aggressive cricket from Somerset.
It was. Well, this isn't quite the exciting match that it was promising to be at one point.
I'm enjoying it.
4th over, 48 for... No, I'm glad to hear. 48 for no wicket, just another 101 required. As this is a slower ball, which is hit away between cover and mid-off for 4. Just spotted that one early, did Smeed, and going along very nicely here.
My only regret...
50 up and
my
Smeed,
only regret
36.
is that Don Topley isn't here to enjoy it.
Well, I have to say, Somerset, it's been a ruthless display so far from these openers. They know the bowlers have done the job, and Smeed, 36 from 23 balls. As Cook bowls to him again, that's a good ball. It's well pitched up and squeezed away into the offside.
Good running as well.
Through for a single.
They've got the fielders right back on the edge of the fielding circle, which means that if they set off straight away for a single, there's almost always going to be a single there.
Yeah, well, ominous for the capital O, and just rather describes the start of their T20 campaign. Of course, there's still 12 games to go. Essex don't play again until Friday night, and maybe that's a chance to have a bit of a reboot, assuming this game goes the way that we're anticipating. Smeed 37, Lammonby 12, and Lammonby's played pretty well as well. 53 for no wicket in pursuit of 149.
Who've Essex got next up?
I think it might be Glamorgan, but I'll look it up just to confirm that.
Glamorgan at Sapphire Gardens.
I think it is, actually.
Quite a tough proposition.
Yeah.
On their own pitch.
And they can. Yes, it is. They don't play before that, but there aren't many games during the week, actually.
Here comes, that looks like Snater to me.
Yeah.
As this is turned into the onside for a single by Smeed, who moves on to 38.
That's Pepper out there, I think, but well, it's a very, very difficult situation for Essex. I mean, they must be deflated after what happened in that innings. At one point, it almost looked as though the worst-case scenario might be about 165.
Yeah, I agree. Critchley and Elgar were going along really nicely. Here's Snater, round the wicket to the left-hander. Pulls it in the air, but safe. And goes out to deep backward square leg. Just the single. Rossington standing up to the stumps for Shane Snater. Snater, who he didn't play in the county championship game at Taunton, I fancy. He was 12th man. He's in and bowls, and it's hit hard into the ground by Smeed. Mistimes it, and they don't take a run.
No, and obviously they'd signed Regita. The one thing about Snater is he might have just been able to counter-punch.
I wasn't hugely impressed with Regita, I must say.
He did bowl well in the first innings at the Oval against Surrey. Got, I think, a 5-wicket haul there. But I'll come back to that point about Snater at Taunton after this ball.
He's in again and bowls. Smeed pulls this, and that is 6. And here is the stat I've been waiting to deliver, courtesy of Steve Pittard. That is Will Smeed's 100th 6 in T20 cricket. That's quite a record.
It is. Yes, remember Essex fell in a heap, didn't they? Particularly at the end of their second innings, and one of the differences between the sides was obviously the Somerset packed with all-rounders, and Essex had 3 genuine tail-enders, and there wasn't anyone really that could throw a few punches back, which Snater might have been able to.
61 without loss as Snater bowls to Smeed, who's up on his toes, hitting this into the onside, but won't get a run.
Well, any Somerset fans, commentators, journalists who have to get back to Somerset tonight will be setting off a little bit earlier than anticipated the way this is going at the moment.
Well, not counting any chickens just yet. 61 without loss.
Very ominous. Where are we? We're in the 5th over.
5th over. Snater to Smeed. A full toss, which is drilled through the onside for 4 runs. Well, there's no point in bowling a full toss at Will Smeed. I guess he was looking for the Yorker. In fact, he just signalled with his hand that he was looking to bowl it, sort of dipping Yorker. But he missed it completely. 65 without loss, with Lammonby on 13. And Will Smeed on the verge of 50. He's on 48.
Well, I must admit, you know, Essex haven't made a great start to a T20 campaign, but they're up against 2 very high calibre sides. Not everyone is going to be matching the strengths of Hampshire and Somerset. On the evidence of what I've seen, it's a long, long way out. But if Somerset and Hampshire carry on playing anything like, then they will surely be in the equation for the top 4. But usually, those are 2 sides, as indeed are Essex, who are usually favoured to be up among the qualifiers. It's obviously a real tussle, isn't the South Group, and of course Gloucestershire surprised everybody last year by sneaking through and then winning the whole thing.
Yeah.
So anything can
deservedly
happen.
so.
65 for no wicket as Amir comes in at the start of this new over, and it's driven away nicely, and it's actually well stopped at cover by Benkenstein, because that was quite well timed by Lammonby, who's been operating in Smeed's slipstream, but hasn't had anything like as much of a strike, and has looked fairly impressive when he has had it. 149 is the target, 65 for no wicket, with 1 ball into the 6th over.
And the run rate that Somerset need is now down below 6.
So Amir going over the wicket, bowls, and that's lofted away over mid-off for 4. Just make sure he got enough bat on that Lammonby to clear the man at mid-off, and once it was past him, it was always likely, even if it's a tall Paul Walter,
I was going to
say, you need
a little bit of extra elevation.
But there was enough elevation there. It's a little bit dispiriting, this, for Essex at the moment, and for the fans who've come up today. 69 for no wicket, almost halfway there in the chase, and we're only in the 6th over. And here's Lammonby, who's hit this away, and it's dropped, and it's gone for 6. It's dropped on the deep square leg boundary, and it's gone for 6, and it just sort of sums up the way things are going for Essex. I think it's Pepper out there, but oh dear, I mean, it's one of those situations where everything that can go wrong is going wrong.
That is where Thomas Rue took an absolutely stunning catch, which was 3 times as difficult as the catch that's just been put down. Yeah,
got hands to it, spilled it, and gone through. And it's one of those, whatever can go wrong will go wrong. But Lammonby, we were saying, he was operating in Smeed's slipstream. Suddenly he's got 23, and he plays a good-looking drive. Shy at the stumps coming in here, but they're through for the single.
He wasn't going to throw because no one was backing up, and there would probably, well, I would say certainly, probably be an overthrow.
Well, 76 for no wicket, and they are halfway there, and we're in the 6th over, target 149, and the openers yet to be parted. Smeed 48 and Lammonby 24. Who have Somerset got next, Anthony?
Good question.
Unfair
Tom
one.
Kohler-Cadmore, I think.
Yes, this is pulled away out towards
who've they got next in the
single
in the competition?
Yeah,
Sussex at Hove.
That'll be an interesting one.
Yeah, tough game. Sussex always
and they've had
good side.
They'll be buoyed by their, well, they've been used to playing Somerset this season, of course, and did very well against them at Hove. But Somerset got their revenge, didn't they, at Taunton? 77 for no wicket. So here is Amir again, an expensive over, I'm afraid. So this is lofted away. It's going to get more expensive still. It's only just cleared Walter this time, but it's going to go away for another 4. So that is 16 off the over. The first ball was a dot ball, and Somerset are absolutely racing towards a huge victory here at Chelmsford. 81 for no wicket, chasing 149, speed 49 from 24, and Lammonby, who really got moving in that over. We mentioned he hadn't had much of a strike. He's taken advantage of what he has had in that over. 28 from 12.
Yep, it's looks for all money as if there's going to be a comfortable Somerset. Matt Critchley is coming in to bowl his leg breaks.
Yeah, it's interesting. We haven't seen too much
The
spin so far.
Crowd are staying, I must say.
Yeah.
Just a few of them beginning to drift away. That's Critchley going to bowl to Smeed, who won't get a run. Plays that respectfully back to the bowler.
We normally would have seen an over from Simon Harmer by now. He often bowling by this
Critchley
point.
bowls, and this is pulled away by Smeed, and there will be just the single. And that is Will Smeed's 50. 50 from 25 balls with 8 fours, and his 100th six in T20 cricket. Another fine knock from Will Smeed, helped by the fact that this is a very good wicket.
Yeah. It's a sort of 190 wicket, isn't it, really?
Critchley again bowls Lammonby, cuts this nicely away through the offside. Another single is taken. 83 without loss. One scoreboard here is hard to read and the other is out of our sight. Critchley bowls, Smeed strokes this through the offside. That is Will Smeed's 17th score of, well no, it's his 18th score of, no, it's his 17th 50 in T20 cricket. This is hammered into the offside by Tom Lammonby, and a very, very good stop out there in the deep by, is that Benkenstein out there?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Very good stop indeed, because that ball was travelling. He saved his side 2 runs there.
Yeah, very, very well done. Even a minor little success, welcome for the crowd.
As Critchley bowls to Lammonby, goes for the reverse sweep, and Rossington takes the bails off, but Lammonby's back foot firmly anchored. A decent over that from Critchley. 86 without loss at the end of it. 51 to Smeed and 31 to Tom Lammonby.
But a feeling of inevitability about what's happening out there, and very, very disappointing for Essex, and going to try and pick themselves up in this competition. I say it is a long qualifying competition. I think it wasn't so long ago Hampshire lost their first 4 games but still got out of the group. So there's no need to be unduly alarmed. It's only the margins of the defeats that is the real worry. Harmer is bowling, and that's played back down the pitch by Smeed and fielded in his follow through. And Essex don't have, obviously they're going to have Jordan Cox back, not immediately because he's expected to be playing in the second of the Lions games. There's this one, Smeed will play away for a single out to Pepper at long on. But in terms of other sort of obvious changes they can make, people like Robin Das of course might get a go, but...
You got another overseas on the way?
Well, not certainly at the moment, because Amir is here for the.
What does Harmer count as?
As he comes in to bowl, that's just played away down back of the square on the offside. Well, we've got a list of them actually. It's now been. He's got a British passport. So sorry, he's overseas, and then we've got Dean Elgar, who is the only player who's not qualified for England. As this is driven away back up towards long off for a single out towards Michael Pepper. So we had the club just helping us with one or two of these nuances, because I say it can get quite complicated. But 88 for no wicket. Here is Snater again. Harmer again. That's played away up towards deep mid-wicket for a single.
Sensible batting this.
Yeah,
they've got the fielders on the back foot.
Yeah.
And they're just working it around, milking the bowling now.
And they're going to do a lot of good for their net run rate. Essex's, after 2 games, isn't going to look very pretty, unfortunately. 89 for no wicket, 149 with target. Harmer bowls. This is just played away into the onside. Gaps everywhere, really. And that just goes out towards deep backward square leg. Yeah, I mean, very difficult to sort of think of anything new to say from an Essex perspective. It's not been a very good start to the T20 this year. The only thing is there are 12 games to go and there is a break before the next one, which I think is going to be very, very useful for them. 90 for no wicket, Somerset. Smeed 53 from 30. Lammonby 33 from 18. The target 149. And we have had now 8 overs, although sort of becoming a bit academic.
Yeah, Somerset going along at more than 10 and over. Lammonby just works this into the onside, sets off for the first one quickly. They're coming back for the second run. They'll have to look lively, but fielder took his eye off the ball. Shane Snater coming in from the boundary and didn't pick it up cleanly, so in the end it was a comfortable 2 for Lammonby. Score moves on to 92 without loss, and I think I can say with some confidence this is the highest opening partnership between Will Smeed and Tom Lammonby in T20 cricket. Lammonby plays this in the same direction, but Simon Harmer has occupied the gap through which the previous shot went. So it's just a dot ball. Critchley bowls. Lammonby goes down the pitch and just plays it up to long off for another single.
100 for Joe Root at Cardiff. England, who were at various points 2 for 2 and then 93 for 4 and now 206 for 5 in the 36, and on course for that score of 309 they need.
Critchley bowls, Smeed drives, and there will be 2. At least they're coming back for a second and they get there. As fielder in the deep had ground to make. 96 without 95 without loss, get it right. Critchley in and bowls, and Smeed square drives, and Snater comes quickly around the boundary in front of the pavilion. A good bit of fielding, well, it wasn't a particularly good throw, but he got there quickly enough to deter the second run. 96 without loss only in the 9th over. 149 is the target. Critchley bowls. This is driven back to him, and eventually, at about the 3rd attempt, clutched. And Lammonby has gone. Caught and bowled by Critchley for 36, and well, he's given Somerset the perfect start with Will Smeed. Just played a little bit too early at that, and Critchley eventually clinging on at, as I say, about the 3rd attempt. But well batted Tom Lammonby, recalled to the side in place of Tom Banton, and he's let no one down.
No, 36 from 22, and yeah, at least one thing's gone Essex's way there. It took a while to go their way, mind you, a few juggles from Critchley, but he's managed to hold on to that one. But I can't honestly see it making much difference in terms of the overall outcome. We're still got so much time left for Somerset. We're only in the 10th over, and they only need another 50 odd runs, 53 to win. But at least a wicket for Essex, try and restore some spirits. There was a sort of hug between Harmer and Critchley when that was completed. So a bit out of relief as much as anything else, but at least something's gone their way.
Incoming number 32, Tom Kohler-Cadmore.
So Kohler-Cadmore comes out. And so 11 overs to go and 53 to win. So it's a fairly straightforward 4.5 and over. With 9 wickets in hand on a good pitch. And it's going to be Harmer to bowl to Smeed on 56. Comes into bowl, and that's just played up down the ground to give Kohler-Cadmore a strike. Pepper completes the fielding at long on.
It's going to be interesting to see how Kohler-Cadmore plays this.
Yeah.
He likes to field bat on ball. He only plays one way, whether it's red ball cricket or white ball cricket. And the sensible thing to do is what Will Smeed has just done, but we will see.
Here is Harmer to bowl to him, and he drives that through the mid-on gap up to Pepper again at long on. Nice stroke to get his account underway. 98 for 1. So just that 51 runs needed, and there are 10 overs and 4 balls to go. Harmer bowls. This is played up towards Elgar at mid-wicket. Certainly in terms of 2 games back-to-back at the start of a T20 campaign, assuming Essex do lose this convincingly, it's the Harmer coming in to bowl. And this is hit in the air, going out towards deep backward square leg, and it's going to be picked up. Benkenstein out there, they come back for a second run. That was a bit uppish, but it fell. There's plenty of room out there, and it fell well short of the fielder. The 100 is up.
100 inside 10 overs.
Yeah. Harmer comes in to bowl, and that's hit just away out towards short fine leg for a single. What would you think would have been par? We were thinking earlier 185, 190.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I think if Somerset had batted first, they would have been targeting 200.
Yeah. 101 for 1. Harmer bowling. Last ball of his second over. Bowls. That's a good delivery. And just beats Cadmore on the forward shot. Cadmore's down in his haunches, but I think he's okay.
I think it caught him in a delicate spot.
But Smeed 60, what an outstanding knock that's been. 60 from 36 balls. Kohler Cadmore won 101 for 1, and it means that for a further 48 are required, with plenty of time to get them. In fact, half the innings.
Yep. Kohler Cadmore is still down on his knees. He's got a very extravagant mullet, has Tom Kohler Cadmore. Quite a mane of hair.
Yes, both these sides playing next Friday evening, so both have the week off, but I'm pretty certain that which side will be enjoying the week off a bit more than the other, the way it's going at the moment. Yeah, so, I mean, this is probably... I can't think of Essex having 2 such big, assuming as this goes as we expect, 2 such big defeats on the bounce at the start of a T20 campaign. But they have fought back from difficult positions before. I think there was one year they won it. I think it might have been 2019, where they were at various points in the group stage looking most unlikely to qualify. But it shows what can happen.
Here's Critchley then to Smeed, who's pushing this into the offside, but Simon Harmer is there. Simon Harmer, who's got some thinking to do as to whether to try and take wickets or to try and contain. Smeed again won't get a run as this goes to backward point.
Yes, Dean Elgar, who batted very well, but unfortunately is not going to count for too much.
Critchley to Smeed, who strikes this over the top of extra cover. That's going to be 4 runs. Beautiful shot. Got his left foot out towards the pitch of the ball, then lovely swing of the bat, and 4 runs to Will Smeed. Takes him on to 64, 105 for 1. Somerset needing just 45 more, and all the time in the world in which to get them. Critchley to Smeed, shorter and pulled, and that's going to be 4 more. Bang into the Felsted School stand. At least that's what I call it.
If Smeed were to find a way of keeping the strike at the end of this over and the next one, it's not impossible that he could get to 100 in a target of 149. Unlikely, but not impossible.
68 he's got. Critchley bowls to him, and he strokes this away through the offside. It should just be a single, as Snater is there to do the fielding, so he moves on to 69. It's been a chanceless innings. He's nicked a couple over the top of slips, and there was an inside edge that ran away down to the fine leg boundary, but apart from that, no problems. This is swept massively by Kohler Cadmore. That's got a huge hit.
Well, bang goes Smeed's 100 then, probably. But, great shot. I mean, a great pickup, but it's very much one-way traffic and a few spectators starting to leave, and just hope from their point of view that they'll see better the next time they come to Chelmsford. It was good that those here earlier saw the women's side play so well, but it has been a deflating latter part of the day.
116 for 1 after 11 overs.
Yep, so as we said that Somerset always in recent years have been one of the fancied sides in this competition, and just the early evidence, I mean, to knock up wins against Surrey and Essex straight up is pretty good, isn't it? It does bode well for the rest of the competition, but yeah, there's just an awful lot to do. And Benkenstein, who I don't think bowled on Friday night, when they were up against Brevis and Vince, he's going to bowl his leg breaks, and that's first ball is played defensively back down the pitch by Smeed, and that's quite an achievement to get him to play a defensive shot. He's on 69, 116 for 1, 149 with target, but only in the 12th over, as Benkenstein bowls good delivery, driven away down the ground up towards Pepper at long on, and there is a single. Gloucestershire champions look like back-to-back defeats. Sussex 173, Gloucester 50 for 6 at Hove.
Who's got the wickets?
And they're all shared. Jack Castle's got 2, as 4 other bowlers have got 1 wicket each. But sounds it's not a typical Hove pitch, but Gloucestershire's defence is under early threat. Here is Benkenstein bowling. That's lofted away down the ground. It's going into a big open space on the offside. Might just be cut off by Eilison running around. He's done extremely well. Ooh. Now he's hit the boundary board. He did extremely well there. And
I think it was probably 4, wasn't it?
Yeah, he didn't quite manage to stop it because going over the rope, but did extremely well in that attempt to stop it. And it could have been the worst case scenario, not only a 4 but an injury as well. But no, I think he's hit the boards, but he's okay. It's the last thing you want. 121 for 1. He's down of our sight there to the left. Good shot though. Kohler Cadmore on 11 will play that with great respect. Benkenstein bowling and played it back down the pitch, and there's no runs. So tidy enough over this from Benkenstein. No pressure, of course, on the batting side, just the 28 needed. As he bowls again, and that's hit away over the bowler's head up towards long off and straight at the boundary field to Allison, and for 4 runs. Good.
Don't want to get in the way of that.
It was hit very firmly. 15 to Kohler Cadmore. He's getting them in quick time. 15 from 6, and it's 125 for 1.
Like a shell from a howitzer.
And this is hit in the air. This could be a catch. 3 fielders chasing towards it. Harmer is favourite, and he takes it. So Benkenstein, that was been a useful over actually, and he finishes it with a wicket and actually a pat on the back from the umpire, and that was basically a delivery that brought about the full shot from Kohler Cadmore. It went a long way up into the air towards mid-wicket. At one point, 2 or 3 fielders could have got it. Harmer called for it and took the catch fairly comfortably. So Kohler Cadmore's little cameo ends at 15, and Benkenstein gets reward for a decent over, and I think we'll see more of him bowling as time goes on. 125 for 2.
Well, it must be very intimidating to bowl to Tom Kohler Cadmore at one end and Will Smeed with 70 to his name at the other. And Kohler Cadmore looked determined to take the young man down and paid the price. Tom Abell, though, Mr. Reliable for Somerset in all forms of the game. Not that he plays much 50-over cricket these days, which is a great shame from every conceivable point of view.
Yes, it seems the hopes of getting a decent, high-calibre, short, early-season 50-over competition seem to have receded a bit from what we've been hearing recently.
Yeah. So we've got a bowling change at the Graham Gooch
Snater
end, and it's Shane Snater coming back into the attack, bowling to Will Smeed, who plays it on the bounce to Simon Harmer at short extra cover. 125 for 2, 25 more 24 more Somerset need. Keep thinking they need 150, but it's only 149.
Could make all the difference, that one. Probably not.
Snater to Smeed, who turns this into the onside. They'll settle for just the single. Smeed on to 71. I'm torn as to whether to interview Ben Green for his 3 wickets in the over or Will Smeed for his 71. I think I may hedge my bets by interviewing either the captain or the head coach, and they can pay tribute to batsmen and bowlers alike.
Absolutely.
And indeed fielders. Somerset fielded brilliantly. Snater then to the new batsman, who's Tom Abel. He's in bowls. Abel steers this wide of backward point, and it's going to be cut off just inside the boundary down below us by Paul Walter. But oh no, has he gone for 4? He did go for 4.
Yeah.
I thought Paul Walter was going to get to that. He disappeared out of our sight. 130 for 2. Just 19 more Somerset need. Snater to Abel. And there won't be a run here as he turns that into the onside. What over are we in? We are in the 13th over. So if Somerset can knock these runs off in the next couple of overs, they'll do their net run rate a power of good. It's always already looking reasonably healthy after the defeat of Surrey down at Taunton on Friday. Snater bowls. Abel plays a model forward defensive push into the offside.
Hampshire, who had a plus 5.3 net run rate after the victory over Essex, are not playing today, but Somerset therefore are going to go top of the group, probably alongside Sussex, because we think Sussex are going to beat Gloucestershire. Well, not over yet, but they're also going to have 2 from 2 if that happens.
Snater bowls to Abel, who again cuts this. This time Walter has moved his position down at third man, so he's square, and that went virtually straight to him. It's just a single. 131 for 2, so 18 more required. Abel will keep the strike. He's on 5. Will Smeed on 71.
The other game in the South Group on a tricky pitch at Northwood. Middlesex 124 for 9, Glamorgan 80 for 5. With 8 overs to go. They're probably slight favourites, but Tom Helm has taken 3 for 16. Glamorgan playing their first game. Somehow haven't managed to be troubled into having to play a game yet, but they're playing one today. 131 for 2, and it means that there's 18 runs required, and 8 wickets in hand, and 7 overs to go. It's one of the simpler equations. But Benkenstein was impressive in his first over. Let's see how he goes here. Going to bowl to Tom Abel, who's there on 5. Wins earlier for Northants and for Worcester. In the North Group, this is driven away past mid-wicket. There's going to be at least 1. Pepper's coming around to chase it. With a hesitation, they don't need to go for the second run. Then who needs a run out at this stage when you've got a fairly simple situation? So they don't go for it, and probably rightly so. 132 for 2. Abel 6, and Smeed there on 71. Now can't get his 100, but been a tremendous knock. Benkenstein with 17 to win bowls, and that's just played with an angled bat out towards deep mid-wicket. There's Snater. They settle for the 1 again.
Yeah, again, sensible batting.
Yeah. So 133.
But what does Harmer do here? I mean, they're just going to knock these runs off in
yes.
Singles. I mean, should he bring the field in and try and put a bit
that's
of
one,
pressure
and
on?
Make them hit over the top, I suppose. But it's very deflating for Essex. So they've got 2 games in a row that just completely got away from them. The only difference was the Hampshire game got away from them right at the start. This one didn't. This takes the pad here of Abel and runs down towards short fine leg. And there's going to be 1 leg by to the total. So 133 for 2. Benkenstein doing well. Not giving anything away, which is all really that Essex can ask of him. Smeed on 72. facing up, getting a full leg delivery, which is I think turned his full toss in the end, and driven out towards Pepper at long on. At least that's good committed fielding there from Pepper and appreciated by the crowd. 5 to throw in and just another single. So just the 4 off the over, only 3 of them off the bat. 1 at 35 for 2, and Abel 6 and Smeed 73. And here is Abel getting a wide side. Outside the leg stump, which slightly blocks Benkenstein's copybook.
He's bowled well though.
He has.
As I say, in a fairly daunting position to be in.
It is, as this is played off the back foot and pull drive out towards long on, up towards Pepper. But no, it's not easy, is it, to make a start like this? It's not just 2 defeats, Anthony, it's 2 huge defeats, and that's the worry. But nothing that a couple of, even if they're narrow wins, nothing that a couple of narrow wins wouldn't put right in the next week or so. 137 for 2. This is a ball which is probably the worst that Benkenstein's bowled, and it's just helped on its way for 4 by Smeed to the fine leg boundary. It was short, it was a long hop really, and Smeed goes to 77 from 48. 141 for 2, and yeah, I think I said at the time, no reason to change my mind. Certainly, it's a toss-up between the man of the match in terms of Green's over or Smeed's innings, but Green's over settled the match. 141 for 2, 8. You very rarely come back from 3 wickets and an over midway through the innings. 141 for 2, 8 to win.
Well, yes, that's why I'm
yeah, you're torn.
I'm torn.
Torn between 2 interviewees.
I'm going to compromise by interviewing either the chief coach or the captain, because it's been a terrific all-round team performance from Somerset, with the ball in the field and now with the bat. So here comes Shane Snater for what could be the final over. He's in, bowls, and Abel just opens the face and runs it down to Critchley at third man. Down below us, 142 for 2. 7 more needed.
Good news for Essex. They've got another double header with Somerset. It's a few weeks away, I think, isn't it? It's later on in the competition.
Yeah, it's in the sort of
at Taunton, yes.
Second part of the competition. It's interrupted by 2 county championship matches at the end of the month, end of June. Snater then to Smeed. He bowls outside the off stump, and it's a wide. So Smeed can now finish the game with 1 blow, which would be rather appropriate. He's on 77, it's 143 for 2. And Snater trying to hide it outside the off stump. Snater then. Somerset needs 6. He's in, bowls, and Smeed drives. Just be a single. Out to Benkenstein. In the deep, 144 for 2. Somerset on the verge of a 2nd consecutive victory. They beat Surrey by 5 wickets on Friday evening. Snater into Abel, who won't get a run as he plays it straight to mid-wicket. Tom Abel was there at the end on Friday, and it looks like he'll be here at the end here today. It's a few heavier clouds rolling in. Snater in and bowls. Abel will get just the single as the ball eludes Paul Walter. 145 for 2, so 4 more Somerset need to complete what would be a
the irony is,
utterly comprehensive win.
As we said off air, Anthony, when I was last working with you, it was always a question of trying to find Phillips a comfort for Somerset, and the roles are completely reversed at the moment.
Here's Snater in, bowls a Yorker, turned away through the onside, and it won't go for 4. And in fact, they only pick up a single. Good piece of combined work out there by the 2 Essex fielders in the deep. 146 for 2.
Yes, day 2 of a championship match at Taunton was probably Essex's best day of the season to that point. And things have changed for Somerset dramatically since then. This is going to be, what, 5 wins in a row in all competitions, and both competitions.
Snater then to Tom Abel. He's in and bowls. Abel drives and won't get a run. That's the last ball of the 15th over. 146 for 2, 79 to Will Smeed, 9 to Tom Abel. Somerset need just 3 runs to complete a most emphatic and very satisfying victory.
And obviously you stay with the commentary for this tense finish, Anthony.
Well, I did say last 2 times these sides have played here, Somerset have chased down 180 plus, quite comfortably in fact, on both occasions. Neither was a particularly tense finish, and I was slightly surprised that Essex chose to bat, and against that sort of background. So it's Harmer to Smeed. Somerset need 3. He's in and bowls. Smeed pulls this away into the onside. It'll just be a single. He goes to 80.
It's one of those things, but it's a home game, so you expect sort of quite a big sort of man of the match thing at the end here. I just wonder what they're going to do.
Here's Harmer then to Abel, 2 needed, and they might get them here. No, they won't. No, they won't. Snater appeared behind a pillar of our commentary box. So it's just the single. The scores are level. And it looks as though it will fall to Will Smeed to score the winning run. And, well, eventually the fielders converge. I don't really see the point of this, but there you are. So Somerset need 1. Harmer bowls to Smeed. He's beaten by a good ball. It's not taken cleanly by Adam Rossington behind the stumps. And crowd getting into this, a few cat calls. Harmer then to Smeed. Somerset need 1, and Smeed drives this back on the bounce to Harmer.
Oh, it's down to 150 per 100 balls now. You'd be worried about that.
So Harmer into Smeed. Somerset need 1 run. He turns it round the corner, and that is it. Just a little fist pump from Will Smeed, and hugely deserved. Somerset have won by 8 wickets, an absolutely comprehensive thrashing of Essex on their home ground, thanks to a combination of some excellent bowling, particularly in the middle overs, supported brilliantly in the field. Some outstanding catches, a couple of outstanding catches from Thomas Rue and Tom Lammonby. And then when Somerset's turn came with the bat, they got off to a flying start thanks to a 96 opening partnership between Tom Lammonby and Will Smeed. Will Smeed finishing with 81 not out. A terrific piece of batting, and well, that's 3 wins in a row here at Chelmsford, and 5 wins on the bounce for Somerset in all forms, and they won both of their opening Vitality Blast T20 games by 5 wickets against Surrey, and now by 8 wickets here this afternoon at Chelmsford.
Yeah, and they've looked very Somerset-like, just as Hampshire did, in terms of looking like the strong Hampshire side of the last few years, perhaps not last year, but both have looked very strong. And Essex, of course, who've hit the heights in T20, have obviously fallen short in these first 2 games and have a little bit of thinking to do. The next game coming up is at Cardiff, and then they play Middlesex here. So Middlesex not renowned as one of the stronger sides in T20. It could just be that this time next Sunday, Essex are looking at a record of 2 wins and 2 defeats, and the whole thing will look rather different. It's not, at the moment, obviously cause for huge alarms in the fact they've lost the first 2 games. The only concern, Anthony, is the margin of defeats, and it's something obviously they're going to have to discuss and to work out how they can obviously be more competitive, and then obviously with more winnable games, and I highlight the one next Sunday, for example, then look to sort of get some sort of progress in the group. And obviously Friday night at Cardiff, well, we'll have to wait and see. It's no reason why they can't do well there, but they certainly have come up against 2 very strong sides, Hampshire on their own ground, Somerset here, and have fallen obviously well short, and they'll look back at that collapse from the moment that Elgar got out, I think at 119, particularly a 3-wicket over from Green, and then of course the run out involving Matt Critchley, who was batting so well.
a terrific all-round performance by what is a very strong Somerset side, who are going to take a lot of beating if they play to their potential.
Absolutely. Thanks very much indeed, Anthony. Look forward to seeing you at some point later on in the season.
Indeed, and commiserations to you, Nick, and to Essex. And I'm sure better things await for the rest of the season.
There were better things, of course.
Commiserations to Don Topley as well.
But of course, we should mention the women's team right at the end of the had a very good win.
Honours
today,
even.
65
Honours
runs,
even over the day.
It is honours even earlier on. Yeah, 65 runs the mark.
Well, we're down here on the outfield for the presentation this afternoon following today's defeat. Our Woodland Group player of the match after scoring 54 from just 31 balls is Essex's Matt Critchley. Matt, tough afternoon, but for you personally, second game into the campaign to be scoring the way you look so free out there, it must be pleasing personally.
Yeah, definitely. I've put quite a bit of work into it with the batting coach, Huggy, about how I want to play. And it was nice for it to come off today. Probably not for long enough, to be honest. It was quite a good wicket out there. So, yeah, it was a pretty disappointing performance. But it was good to be back out at Chelmsford. Good to have people back in, obviously, with a double-header now. So that's quite cool to play in that first one. But, yeah, on a personal note, it's quite pleasing. But, yeah, tough day.
And you just actually touched upon that double header. That's massive. A wonderful occasion, a great game earlier on, and a win for Essex women. How important is that for the club and the game moving forwards?
No, definitely. Obviously, we've not quite been on the same schedule as them now. We've been playing the 4 days and they've been playing the 50 overs. So it's actually the first time seeing them play, and well, after Hampshire, and it was good to see them get a win. Well, they played some good cricket, obviously, and then. Like, to get people in watching both games, it's brilliant for the club, and hopefully it grows the game Essex-wide, but also that they get good results and we get good results.
Absolutely. And as we all know with this format of cricket, the games come so thick and fast. A trip to Glamorgan later on this week before returning to Chelmsford on Sunday. No time to really sit and dwell. It's on to the next one.
No, that's the beauty of it. Kind of, it works both ways. If you're on a roll, the games come thick and fast, so you get on a roll. If you're not playing as well, then the games come thick and fast, so you have a chance to right a few wrongs. So I think it's how you put a spin on it. I'm sure we'll have a little debrief because we've not played two of our best games. We've let ourselves down really this weekend, so I'm sure we'll go up there, or people will go away in the week and we'll come back, try and right them wrongs. And next Sunday we could be 2-2, so put ourselves in a good position.
Absolutely. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, 54 off 31. Our Woodlands Group player of the match, Matt Critchley. I'd like to welcome Luke from Woodland Group for the presentation there and a photo. We've also got our young eagle of the match, which is young James. Just behind the camera, Critch, if you'd be ever so kind to head over. We're going to sign James's shirt. And that's a wrap. A fantastic win this afternoon for Essex women, not to be for the men. But as we said, games come thick and fast in this format. Wednesday, the women are back in action when the Bears are the visitors to the ground here. That will be starting at 6 o'clock. The men, of course, are back in action here next Sunday when Middlesex are the visitors. That's a 2 p.m. start. Other than that, thank you for your support. Have a safe journey home, and we'll see you next time.